What's up, everybody? Just trying to do something really quick before we get this podcast started.
It's good to be back. We got our couch captain Toast throwing up the couch fam emojis.
Right here. Put me on the big screen, Drew. What do we got?
Oh, we got a hand size.
Oh my God! Oh man, this is massive compared to.
Oh, he might be a first round pick.
6'3".
Might be a first rounder.
Going up, baby.
I did a remeasure.
Top 15.
I did a remeasure, so we're at 9 inches right now.
Oh, we're top 10.
I'm gonna let
better than Kenny Pickett, that's for sure.
See, I'm one of those honest guys when I talk to the NFL scouts. My hands are not they're weak. So even though my hand is above average, I have no grip. Like I'm more of a finesse guy. So it's not gonna really work out for me, no matter the weather or anything. It's just so we're over 9, let's just say 9.1 inches. Kenny Pickett's in trouble, right? His is 8.5.
8.5. Fairly small.
Think so.
The smallest in any quarterback in the NFL currently.
Wasn't Joe Burrow's pretty small too?
Yeah, 9 inches. 9 inches.
Oh,
he made fun of it. People were making fun of it.
Bigger hands than Pickett.
Well, 9 is extremely small, probably compared to how big he is. But I mean, there's a difference between 9 and 8.5.
Yeah, I would agree.
And people are saying that it's going to make a difference. Like it's because he's probably already a guy that you're on the fence about, right? It's not like, the number one consensus pick or anything like that.
Yeah, that's true. It's a generally weaker quarterback class. And on top of that, we don't really have like a Trevor Lawrence type guy where like everyone's like, oh yeah, this is the number one. But I will push back a little bit on that idea, right? Let's take another quarterback, for example, who has much larger hands. I think his hand, Desmond Ridder, came out with 10.5-inch hands. That guy fumbled the football way more than Kenny Pickett did. So, yes and no. I mean, I understand why, you want bigger hands because the fumbling issues. But the guy, Kenny Pickett, has proven that, he doesn't really have a fumbling issue. And he played in Pittsburgh, cold weather, so.
Well, let's first assess like what this is, like what it. So obviously, like it's not like none of this is like a make it or break it. Just to me, the hand size is a small. It's just another small knock on Kenny Pickett. So that's what I'm saying. Do you got to agree with that or disagree? Because we can't be like, oh my God, he's gonna fumble once a game now. Like,
right.
This is ridiculous. Yeah, let's not like we're so over the hype of saying NFL Combine means nothing or NFL Combine means everything. That's just such a played out. No one talks like that anymore. So I think it's just another small knock on Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's very good analysis.
Still probably the best quarterback of the class. Maybe Malik Willis, though. Maybe.
Well, the thing is, it's not an agreement type of thing, right? You could say like he's your quarterback one, or I can say he's my quarterback one, but not everyone's going to say that. So regardless, it's still a murky waters here,
No, I agree. Definitely agree. There's going to be a lot of defensive guys going in that top 10.
Yeah, that's true.
And linemen.
I think it's good that Josh Rosen got drafted so people know like how not to act on draft day. It was like he was an idiot for what he said.
Fair point,
I can't remember.
Honestly.
Can you say what he said?
This is so funny because like, I did get a good amount of or I got some. Let's just say I got some stuff wrong last year, some big stuff wrong, and I deserve the flag. But it's how do I still get flack for nailing stuff like Cam Newton falling off and Josh Rosen being a bust? I still get like flack from like 1.5 people. Well, actually, Cam, not anymore. But Josh Rosen, like there was a Josh Rosen truther just last year on Twitter. I'm like, what do you do? Like I nailed this. Like I don't nail a lot of things. I nail some stuff, and I should get like an applause gif or something.
Give a little credit.
I'm just
like
telling
an emote.
That's what I decided. This is some kind of fake confetti, some digital confetti. Instead, I still like till this day I have Josh Rosen truthers. Like I nailed it. I told you guys he'd be a bust. I told you guys he was arrogant. I told you he'll ruin everything. I told you that Kyler Murray would get drafted and Josh Rosen wouldn't. How could that be? He was just drafted. Boom, he's gone. Dude, Josh Rosen was gone after 13 games.
Confetti NFT for you.
Oh God, I totally forgot what we're talking about. But draft day.
Best quarterbacks like Trubisky and
Josh Rosen is a good way of not to learn how to act, or how not to act. And I'm always a student of the game, any game. I love learning. In high school, I never knew that I loved to learn because the school sucks, just to be quite frank. I love learning, and it's always awesome to learn. If you always have that mentality to be a student of the game, to learn from others' mistakes. So you don't get stabbed by the sword, but you know how to dodge the sword the next time you get into a sword fight. It's amazing. And Josh Rosen, he is the dumbest dude ever. So when he got drafted, I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was something along the lines of this. So he went 10th or 11th. Let's say he went 11th
10th overall.
He's like, the other 9 teams that drafted me, like every single one of them is going to know what they missed out on. Like they'll see what's up. He says something like that. It was just horrible. And he was all mad. And I was like, dude, I don't know. I didn't think he was that good in college. He didn't win much. Toast in the channel did post some official 40 times. And I was, the combine today, like these numbers, it looks like the clock was off. And I guess these aren't official
fast
times. But so Christian Watson was the one that stood out to me the most, and Toast has reported that his official 40 time is 4.36, but on the website when I screenshotted this an hour ago, it was 4.28. Still amazing.
And he's a big guy.
He's
right?
6'4", 205 or 210.
Yeah,
we got to know for sure.
He was Trey Lance's favorite target, right, Sushane?
Yeah, correct. One of the best receivers. There was a tight end as well, Noah Gindorf, but those two guys were pretty much the driving force in terms of non-quarterback play in North Dakota State. What I will say about Christian Watson that makes him different from all of the guys at the top of this list, he's the only one who's not a Z wide receiver. That's why he pops out to me at 4.36 or whatever it was. That's crazy, in a good way.
You mean he plays a slot?
He's an X. He's not a Z. A Z would be like your typical deep threat, which is why all of these guys, like Calvin Austin, for example, Velus Jones, these guys are Z prototypes, which means their best trait is speed.
Yeah,
Christian Watson, his best trait was not supposed to be speed, but here we go. He's got one of the top, 40 times in the class. That's very exciting, in my opinion.
These other top 5 guys are all small guys, right?
Correct. Smaller.
Closer to Hollywood Brown than.
Correct.
Would Hollywood Brown be a Z receiver? He's a flanker.
Yeah, I would say he's more of a Z.
He's improved this past year. He's improved. But
definitely tremendously.
And he should continue to improve.
Yeah, you would think.
Yes, what about George?
What about George?
Just got to point out George Pickens, 4.4. He's our X of the, he's the X that we love the most, I think, outside of Treylon Burks.
So what I'll say is this. Drew knows that I'm very excited about this guy. 4.4s, 40 time, perfect. I'm good with that.
Plus the catch in the title game.
Oh yeah, catch radius. You'll see more
big time catch down the field. Brandon was like a 50-yard bomb, and he made a really athletic play in the national title game. So that's what Sushane is referring to now.
Mm-hmm. Now, what I will say is that when you look at George Pickens, he's all the way at the bottom here of the top guys. He's probably listed 12th or 13th, maybe 15th or something.
I think it's the 9th or 10th.
But if you just look at the raw number, 4.440, it's good. It's fine. It's good enough. That's what we want. So there's no red flag or no issue for George Pickens, even though he's not a top 3 or a top 5 40 time per se.
13th, by the way.
13th. Yeah.
But that's a good point. Having an X wide receiver even show up on this list is a bonus. You know what I mean? Because
Watson was just
exactly.
Right.
We were expecting these guys to be a little bit slower, maybe, because they can run every route. They have the big playability too. They could be a possession receiver. So all of that combined with speed, Whew.
Now, just so people know, we did the combine just started. We have a screenshot up on the live podcast, and these seem to be unofficial though, so they're just changing right now. So I don't want to tell people something and it's not. Like I think the guy who ran a 4.21 or one of these changed drastically. We got a Thornton is 4.28 and not 4.21. That's the fastest guy. Olav is 4.39, not 4.26.
Oh, that's a big difference.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a
okay.
Whole wait, yeah,
tenth
that's
of a
huge.
second.
That's big.
So I honestly I don't remember this in the combine. Is it something to do with a stopwatch? And then I don't understand why, or do they go frame by frame on the video and readjust it?
That's a good question. I always assumed it was just
thought it was a machine.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why on Pro Day
we have a laser here and a laser here. You run across this one and then you run across that one. We time it in between. I assumed because that it's 2022.
Maybe Toast can answer that. So Toast is helping out. So George Pickens' official 40 time he's saying is 4.47. Burks,
not bad. We'll take it.
I'll take that. Yeah, I'll take that any day of the week. I'm good with that.
And Burks is 4.55.
Fine with that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
4.5, 4.4 speed. I'm fine.
Now was Burks the guy? He seemed to run he seemed to do the drill run. I think that was him. Some guy.
Are you referring to the vertical jump drill?
No. I'm talking the 40 time.
Like he got started late.
I just felt like he's probably faster than the time says. Like he just didn't do the drill well to me. And I'm definitely no expert on 40 times or track or anything, but he just seemed like he didn't get a good start. And I think it was Burks. I think he did a 4.5 and a 4.55. That may have been somebody else, some big dude. I think it was him. But anyway, you got to look at how they run sometimes, because if they get a bad start or something, you're like,
the start really.
Yeah, okay, this guy, this guy's actually way faster on film. And you can't just be okay, that's his official 40 time and just go off that. But I mean, anything else you guys we got a lot to talk about, guys. We're going to talk about the combine. We're going to wrap up the combine. Just talk a little bit about the draft. We're talking Kyler Murray, Aaron Rodgers, some fantasy dynasty strategies and how to approach a season and all that too. So that's what we're going to be talking about on the podcast. Anything else about the combine before we wrap that up?
Yes, one more thing. The top wide receiver on not necessarily everyone's boards, but most people's boards, had a really, 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 and I'll say really one more time, poor vertical measurement today, 33 inches, very bad. I'm not usually one to say hey, combine metrics are gonna influence whatever, because the guys put on some phenomenal tape, but man, that was really bad. I'm a little bit concerned, a little bit. Drew, what do you think?
That's
about that?
Treylon Burks, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, and Brain's talking about he didn't get a good jump on the 40 time either. Maybe he's having some nerves. Maybe he's a little bit nervous. I mean, hey, who knows? But I like the tape.
Honestly, that doesn't make sense for a vertical.
No, it could be that he just didn't perform today. I mean, he may have just had a bad day.
Maybe bad technique. I don't know. I haven't seen
it yet. Could
be
bad technique. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it's mental though, because it's just vertical's just jumping.
Yeah, you could be right. The vertical. I guess maybe I'm thinking more of the 40 time.
If you plan on making 40+ million, you pretty much should be able to jump on command. Now 240s.
Yeah, you better show out.
240s, I can I'm not giving much excuse, but I can see you screw up twice and it's kind of done, right? And then that's it. But I mean, you should be able to jump on demand if you're planning on making 40 million plus in your career.
Well, these guys get to redo or rerun some of this stuff, right? At their own pro day, if they do have one at their college.
That's what
a lot of times that's what happens.
That's why I made a DK Metcalf video, because he's like, look, man, I got to get this cone drill time down. And he did a little bit. It's still bad, but he got it down. So yeah, they can redo a lot of these.
Well, maybe he's going to have a better shot next time, and he's going to be more comfortable in his hometown or home stadium. Who knows? But yeah, I get your point. As far as the jumping is concerned, he should be able to jump out of the building naturally. But running and starting on time, I mean, day. He could have had a bad
Separation
day.
too, incredible separation.
Are we gonna get this guy at a discount in Dynasty, or are NFL teams gonna get him at a discount in the draft?
I think it's more likely that an NFL team will get Treylon Burks at a discount than you get him at a discount in fantasy.
So we're smarter than real scouts.
Sure, yeah.
Us guys on a little podcast
I think so, actually,
and clicking on Sleeper. We're smarter than actual, like, real NFL
Well, maybe not
teams.
smarter. They just have other players to be taken, like, linemen, defensive guys.
Players, yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, like, we're looking at just the offensive side.
So a team would, because of this, a team would go like, all right, we'll draft the lineman now because it was so close.
Well, because we can get a better wide receiver in the second round. Like,
exactly,
if you don't get Treylon in the first round, let's say you have the 17th overall pick, and that's probably the range he might go, or earlier. Then in the second round, if you have the 17th pick in the second round, you might get a guy like, Garrett Wilson, right, or Olave, or someone else maybe that falls to the second round, George Pickens. So that's the point.
Yeah,
you fill needs with other players first, so to speak.
It's probably what happened to DK Metcalf.
Yeah, in a way,
because all these guys went before him. They're like, we don't need to reach for him. He can't run a 3-cone drill.
It's a deep wide receiver class. Sorry if I'm stealing all your mojo here, Sushane. But yeah, it's a deep wide receiver class. So I mean, if you're thinking, wow, I could get a better linebacker now in the first round, and then wait till the second round and you get someone else who I don't like, maybe as much, but a little less, that might work.
Also,
I don't know if that made sense.
Also, Dynasty players, I love that player profiler. I love looking at it, but I know I love it because it's very convenient and it's good when you're looking at stats, but obviously that's not everything. A lot of Dynasty people have a lot of faith in that, right? They put a lot of weight in the player profiler metrics. You look at 5 metrics. Is this guy good or not? Oh, he doesn't fit my, the stats and the data. It doesn't fit my little graph I have, my spreadsheet. So is that why he might fall also in Dynasty because of this combine?
Possibly. I mean, I'm not really one of those guys who uses player profiler too much, but I do know that a lot of guys, follow it religiously. And I mean, yeah, it's a thing. People are going to look at the entire profile, and when you look at an entire prospect's profile, you look at the production in college, the skill set, but also the metrics and the combine numbers. It's a part of the evaluation.
We got to look at that BMI.
Oh yeah.
how sexy is the BMI? Does the BMI speak to me? You got to look at the BMI. I pay off very little attention to BMI with running backs. I guess I don't know why I feel dirty admitting that, but that's it. I don't look at BMI with wide receivers too. I just sometimes I look at it just to look at it. I don't think I've ever based any decision off BMI for wide receiver. Maybe I should, but I don't pay attention to that stuff.
For anybody who doesn't know what BMI stands for, it's body mass index, right?
Yeah.
Just in case they don't know. I mean, I would say that a running back could possibly sneak up in our rookie drafts, like a Breece Hall, maybe a Spiller or a Kenneth Walker. Like if they get drafted to a team where we know they're going to run the ball or they have great running schemes, maybe they sneak above a Treylon Burks if he continues to do poorly, not only in the combine, maybe has a bad pro day, maybe he has bad interviews with the coaches and the staff. So you never know. I mean, someone like Breece Hall could be the number 1 rookie overall pick in our drafts, even in Superflex, for example. It's possible.
You're talking Dynasty.
Yeah, sorry. I should be clear. Yeah, so our rookie drafts, because you were asking, can we get a discount on this guy, Treylon Burks? It's possible. Breece Hall is probably the guy who would dethrone him as the consensus number 1 overall pick, in my opinion.
These guys still got to get drafted, too. Let's see what teams they get drafted.
True, because if one of these guys goes round 1 that we're not expecting, and a guy who we think is going to go round 2, like a running back, goes round 4, well, we got to adjust again.
Tell Brain who you think, if George Pickens gets drafted to you would be really excited. You mentioned this last night to me. Tell him
Los
the team that
Angeles Chargers. Oh my God!
And then they get rid of BMW Big Mike Williams.
Yeah,
exactly.
That would be a dream come true for me. because I'm very
You got
high
an
on
elite
George Pickens as well.
quarterback, Herbert, throwing
I
into
love
a kid that we
love
really
Justin
like.
Herbert. Justin
Right.
Herbert's amazing.
So what if that happens? Maybe George Pickens sneaks up the draft board quite a bit. Who knows? I'm not saying he'd be the number 1 overall pick in our rookie drafts.
He could
But a
be.
lot
You
of things
never
can
know.
change. A lot of things could change from now until the draft, right?
Oh yeah, landing spot is always another part of the evaluation, and also one of the bigger final factors that we have to complete the guy's profile.
And there's always surprises in the draft. The Jaguars could mess around and draft Travis Etienne. You never know. Like
Yeah,
these
something can
things
happen.
These things happen. So let's move on from the combine. Let's go to the next. What do I have here? Okay, so this is what. Yeah, it's exactly what I wanted to talk about here. So Christian Watson, right? Could he go to the Niners? And this is so I did like, I don't know what I was on. I did a podcast, but I think the dude did it for his school or something. I don't know, whatever show I was on. Everyone who asked me to be on the show, I always say yes. And so I was on a show just this past week, and he asked me, most of the questions were pretty bad, but I like one question was really good. And he asked me about this. He asked me about the college, like we're talking about Jalen Waddle, and he's like asking about these college things. And I was like, look, man, I don't know about this, but I know it's a real trend. I know that this is not a coincidence. And I was like, I did make a post about this on Instagram. This is not a coincidence. This was a strategy, one that we just started seeing. I don't think we've seen this before, but these GMs, these NFL teams are drafting players that the quarterback played with in college. And like I said, when you see it 4 times right away, all in the first round, I believe. Yes, all in the first round, like really prominently, it's not a coincidence. We've seen Jalen Waddle, Tua. But the best one, definitely Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. That worked out crazy, especially with the Penei Sewell, the Penei Sewell signs and everyone going crazy, like draft Penei Sewell. Don't be an idiot. You're not gonna you got to draft him, and they made a Super Bowl. They almost won one. Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts, barely, I know, but still. They did play like 1.5 or 2.5 games together or something. Travis Etienne, they were teammates for a while.
Yeah, no,
they
like,
were.
It counts, yeah, for like 1.5 years or something.
Just kind of
still think,
it still counts. Yeah, Travis Etienne and Trevor Lawrence, that's a very prominent one, and that could have been pretty good. You never know. Maybe Urban Meyer would have been coach of the year if Travis Etienne didn't get hurt.
Probably not.
Definitely not. Yes, definitely not. But so I want to ask you guys: can Christian Watson get drafted by the Niners realistically? I don't see why not. I think it's the perfect fit.
I think it's possible.
I like where your head's at, Brain. Obviously, I'm a big Trey Lance fan, so like that would be nice for me as well to see that. But because we don't have our first round pick, I don't think it's going to happen, man.
He's going in the first?
I think this guy's
No.
I'm going hot take. I think this guy is going to be late first round, early round.
Wow.
I'm going there. I'm going there.
Wow.
He's good, man. He's good.
You heard it here first.
What
He's
people are telling me could be round 1 to round 3.
It's a range.
It's a range.
Is
It's a
round
range of
3?
outcomes.
Is round 3? Possible?
Round 3 would be like
is that
his
realistic?
floor.
That's
a good
realistic.
floor.
Okay, not
Yeah.
round 4. Round 4, he's not gonna like.
No,
He's not making
a
round
good
4.
floor. I said.
Yeah, okay.
Floor.
I know. I'm making sure. I'm like double checking you. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
So round no later than round 3 within the realm of reality.
Definitely not.
Okay.
If that was the case, there would be some sort of red flag that I don't know about, or he just simply falls in the draft.
Bro, let's go start a 33rd NFL team. Let's do expansion and draft him right there if he's falling. File in the form. I'll email Roger Goodell. I'll type up a bot. We'll send Roger Goodell like 10,000 emails. Be like, hey, we want an expansion team, 33rd NFL team. We're gonna call it like the couches or the I don't know. We'll call it something.
The fantasy
couches.
We'll
get it done.
The fantasy couches.
Oh yeah, we'll get it done.
But, so you're saying it's possible at least then, both you guys.
Yeah, there's a chance. I'll give it a chance.
But wouldn't you say there's more needs elsewhere on the team?
Yeah,
we probably wouldn't invest.
Niners are like a 2 wide receiver set type mindset. Yeah, they do run 3 wide receiver sets a lot, but they like to run the ball and do short pass game and run with Debo. Now the Niners are going to be running a lot with Trey Lance as well, and they use the running back a lot. So it's not really the thing, but I always fantasized the Niners to have even a poor man's Julio Jones, because I know Julio, they don't come often. Julio Jones, Megatron, these guys don't come often. But a guy that's fast, at least like a Deshaun Jackson, but ideally bigger. So I always wanted a deep threat for the Niners. I think it would just open up so much for them. A team like the Patriots, they always got it done. But then when they had Randy Moss, it was just so much more fun. It was just so like, it's not necessary, but yeah, if you do have that one deep threat, like I think that'll be great. And I think Christian Watson, I think with the coach like Shanahan, I just think it'll just open up the playbook so much more. And like Kittle's a deep threat too, right? He's just not really utilized, but he's just so fast. I mean, Kittle's really up there with a lot of deep threat wide receivers. He's so dang fast. And I think if you have that, like that offense becomes unstoppable. Obviously, I think cornerback would be if you're talking about need.
Yeah,
cornerback,
absolute number one.
Would you really draft a corner and then be successful though, and then fix the problem? That's because that's what like Niners have tried this past year. I don't know if
Tart's probably gone in free agency, so they may draft a safety too, although they have Mafonga. But speaking of pairs, Jaquiski Tartt and Jimmy Ward went to the same high school in Alabama. They played together as starting safeties on that high school football team. So that's a cool little trio, if you will, from back in the day playing together. Speaking of that, but yeah, I don't know. I think they got a lot more needs than just in the wide receiver core. They have Juwan Jennings, who looked decent. They have Sherfield, who looked, was a body at least.
He was productive when he was playing. To answer your question, Couch, you were saying, can you draft a corner and be, done with the position? You can. I mean, there's some good elite corners, but you probably need a top 10 overall pick to get one of those types of guys. Just because
you have to trade up, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you'd have to trade up.
The Niners don't have a first round.
Like if you're looking,
I heard they might go over Gilmore in free agency.
That's a move.
Yeah,
free agency would probably be the place.
That scares me so much, but I mean, if you're gonna make a run for the Super Bowl, I'm okay with it. It's just, I mean, he's at this is like his last year of possibly playing at really high level.
Yeah,
these corners fall off pretty fast usually.
Yeah,
they can. True. Yeah, some of them don't last very long, unfortunately.
Or some of them are like Malcolm Butler or Josh Norman, where they're really great for a while. I actually interviewed one for the Fantasy Couch and met one. Steve, was his name Steve Smith for the Chiefs? I think his name was Steve Smith as well. I can't believe I forgot. But he had a crazy year on the Chiefs, and then he went to the Raiders and kind of disappeared. I think it was Steve Smith.
Looking it up.
You might have to look at our old videos.
Look at Stephen Gilmore, by the way, is 31 years old.
Yeah, that's right about that.
It's once Bill Belichick trades you, is like you got to be scared. Like he's pretty good at that. He's pretty good at that once he trades you. Because look at Jimmy G. Like look at
getting a second round for Jimmy G would be a godsend now.
Yeah, I think Jimmy G could get some good trade value just because of this quarterback market. Like the quarterback room in the NFL just took a huge dive right this year because this draft is not as strong or it's not as sexy as some other drafts, like with Baker, Sam Darnold, or last year with Lawrence and Lance and all these, right? So that's there. And then Big Ben retired. Tom Brady retired. We're going to be talking about Aaron Rodgers, Kyler Murray. Like their quarterbacks, like a lot of teams are way more desperate for a quarterback right now.
Sean Smith, by the way.
Sean
Smith. Yeah.
That's the name I remember. He was like absolutely amazing on the Chiefs that year, and he earned some money, went to the Raiders, and I mean he was pretty bad. I'm like trying to hold back because he's my friend, but I mean he was pretty bad. He got in some legal troubles. Like, I mean, he was benched. He was getting smoked. I mean, I don't think memes were that big back then, like to make an NFL meme, because he would have been on a lot of memes. He was Eli Apple level. It was bad. Yeah.
He didn't make it a very long career, unfortunately. You're right.
If you get benched on the Raiders during that time, I mean,
Yeah, it's pretty much done.
Yeah, that team, they didn't have
Actually,
any.
he did have a fairly long career. He did have a long career, but you're right. It wasn't great.
He was hot on the Chiefs. Like, this guy was amazing. Like, if you pulled his Madden card and the Madden game, like, you'd be like, yeah, you have a great quarter. Like, you loved it. Anyway, let's move on. But yeah, I think some teams are going to do this. And what I'm talking about, though, is specifically like quarterbacks, basically, or some kind of offensive chemistry.
Yeah,
I'm not
I know
talking
what
about,
you're
yeah, because they're all the guys are talking about have a quarterback. It's like a fantasy stack. The quarterback throwing to one of these guys, and maybe we'll see this trend continue. I think it was a good idea overall. I think this idea was a success. So with Waddle and Chase.
I drafted in a startup recently with Sushane, and I got Burrow, Justin Jefferson, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I was bugging Toast to try to get Jamar Chase in a trade. I wanted the whole entire 2019 LSU Tigers on my squad.
That would
I should pick up Thaddeus Moss somewhere.
That would accomplish nothing except maybe a cool dynasty team name. Maybe
Yeah.
Cool logo.
I mean, those 4 players are pretty hot.
Is,
I mean, Clyde not so much.
I mean,
the other 3
for your cool factor, that could accomplish stuff, but it doesn't accomplish anything else. Other than it being
I'll report back later. My team looks pretty good, though. I have to say.
What I'm talking about is real. Like, this might really happen in the draft.
In real life, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm messing around.
We have a Kyler Murray saga, and this is something I really don't want to get into deep, but it's like the more I didn't want to go into deep, the more like deeper I fell in the rabbit hole. Makes
perfect sense.
It's a big deal, yeah. So Kyler Murray. Everyone knows pretty much what's going on, right? He deleted all his Instagram posts except 2, or essentially removed all Cardinals related posts. I just checked out his Instagram today, and so he does have 1 new post, Cardinals related. But the main thing here with this picture I got up here is that we see 2 young quarterbacks. I think it's more coincidence. They're both kind of rushing quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray. They're different, but they both rush a lot. And they're both approaching this completely differently on how they're going to get paid, right? They're both young, both in the rookie contract. They're both looking for a huge payday. Lamar Jackson, I don't even think has an agent.
Nope.
That's correct. His mother is his agent, technically.
Okay. Well, he's like, we'll get it done. It's all good. We'll get it done. And, he's just he just seems a lot more humble, and he was really like, remember back in the day, a lot of teams, took him off their board. A lot of teams thought he should be wide receiver. It was pretty bad. Like, I mean, he really wasn't respected as a quarterback or even NFL player by a good chunk of teams. While Kyler Murray, so Josh Rosen saga, right? They just drafted a quarterback who was, some people, some of my haters, according to them, should have been drafted way earlier than 10 overall. So he was a top quarterback draft pick, was drafted very early. And this guy, Kyler Murray, drafted number 1 overall, replaces Josh Rosen right like after 13 games, after his very first year, just replaces him. So he's the golden boy. Like, there is no, other than his, his height, there really, and maybe him playing baseball, there really isn't like, oh, he should be a running back or he should be a wide. Like, he's a respected quarterback overall. Like, is he humble? We tried to have Mike couldn't make the show, but Mike met him in Miami, and Mike texted us that he is not a humble dude. He looks anything but humble from the brief moment that Mike got to meet Kyler Murray. And I think I'd have to agree. Move on to what do we got here? What's next?
I was curious. What's the late for work?
Yeah, what was that whole connection about?
I was curious. Is that just a photo you found off the internet?
Yeah, that's Rich Eisen's podcast.
Yeah, we thought it was referring to possible holdouts.
No,
late for work.
I think that's the name of. Yeah, I stole a graphic. Yeah, that's not.
Sorry, I didn't mean to push. Yeah,
trying to ruin the movie.
Sorry, Rich.
Of Mike and what he thinks of Kyler.
Yeah, no, I don't care about me stealing graphics. I just like we're trying to do a show. You just kind of ruined the mood here. I gotta light the candle back on. I gotta put the R&B music back. I gotta set the mood back. So people are like talking about this. Honestly, like it could be just because I'm dumb. Like the way I hear it, I thought like legit Larry Fitzgerald was saying this. You know what? Actually, I'm pretty sure now that other people made this mistake too, because they say Larry Fitzgerald Sr. and I just never thought. I just thought, oh, that's
He has
Larry
a son and he
Fitzgerald.
named him Larry. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's not a junior. Like I just thought it was Larry Fitzgerald, and like now, because I did a lot of research on this today, or at least a little bit, I know that other people made this dumb mistake too, because now they're talking to Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald's like denying this. The actual Larry Fitzgerald, the Cardinals wide receiver. He's like, Larry Fitzgerald saying, look, in 30 years that I've played sports, team sports, I never once had a problem with a teammate. Like, stop making stuff up. So he's out of this. Okay, the wide receiver, Larry Fitzgerald, out of this. Now, he has a dad named Larry Fitzgerald Sr., and he is saying, according to a tweet, which I couldn't find, by the way, so I guess he said it and it's deleted. Regardless, this is what people are reporting. Larry Fitzgerald's dad, Larry Fitzgerald Sr., says this about Kyler Murray. I'm just going to sum it up. He says that Kyler Murray is spoiled. And he said he's never been humbled. And I got to kind of agree with this. But I do have a big thing here is like, what's more humbling than that L he took in the playoffs? I'm rooting for Kyler Murray. I think there's a problem here. I think that there's a worry here. I think it's very worrisome to give this guy a big contract. He can go play for the Oakland A's. He can play baseball. He can just quit. He is not humble. There is some worry there, but I'm rooting for him, and I don't think this is that bad. I think overall you take a risk on him, you take a gamble, you sign him. I think it'll probably work out. Everybody can grow. I don't think it's an issue, but I don't think it's irreversible. I don't think that it's the end. I don't think it's like, oh, you have to stay away from Kyler Murray. Because of that L he took against the Rams, that's the most humbling event I think a pro athlete can take, and he could probably learn from that. This is just a guy trying to get his money, and maybe he does learn from that, because I watched that game on the Manning cast. I don't know, did you guys watch the game on the Manning cast?
I did not. I watched it on the regular ESPN. What was
Manning? I'm a big Louis Riddick fan, so I watch it on the traditional.
Okay, so Manning cast was, I always try to watch Manning cast. It was so, like, something stood out so big to me. So Russell Wilson was on, and people like to make fun of stuff and make memes and stuff. So people that did notice were just making fun of it. But I was like, man, it stands out so much. Russell Wilson was like answering a question. The Mannings asked him something like, what would you do in this situation, Russ? And he was like, all right, guys, I'd go around, I'd touch all my teammates. I'd push them. I'd say, hey, each one of them, I'd say, hey, we can still win this. We're still in this. We can still do this. I'd still make sure their heads were up, and I'd go to every single team. And as he was saying this, they panned to a shot of Kyler Murray, and he was just sulking on the bench, didn't talk to anybody. He gave up. And I knew the game. I mean, everyone knew the game was kind of over. The score was still close, though, and there was still a lot of time left, because I think Russell Wilson came on in the third quarter. So, like, it wasn't like, if you just look at the score, you're like, okay, they're still in the game. Like, it was really bad, and it was a bad sign. But I always root for the human. I think he can overcome this. You got to scroll faster. Go further. Yeah, yeah. So that's the game right here. See, he looks bad. He's all sulking and stuff.
Yeah.
But is this what would it like irreversible? Like, is this a dead end? No, I don't think so. I don't think it's as bad as Cam Newton's fumble in the Super Bowl. Another thing I nailed. Yeah, I may have only nailed like two things my whole career, whatever. Cam Newton and Josh Rosen, whatever. I'm still alive. I'm still here. Maybe I did only nail two things. This is another thing I nailed. When you can't do a press conference as the franchise quarterback, when you don't fall on a fumble, when all this happens in a big game, right? A Super Bowl loss. I don't think there's anything in quite like a Super Bowl loss. It's really not. Like, every team seems to fall off after a Super Bowl loss. Like,
I'm still mesmerized with the graphic on the screen. I've got to say, this is hysterical.
Well, this is a clip from I think my most successful social media post ever. So
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, from that point on, it's hard to come back from there.
It was, and this is just one instance, but like he couldn't hold a press conference, right? He lost his Oikos sponsor. He did like a sexist comp, like, oh, girls know football type. He did like some kind of thing. He lost Oikos right then and there. He was like, hey, women eat Oikos, you idiot. You're losing this sponsor right away. And then he couldn't do the press conference at the Super Bowl either. Like this man, he can't handle a press conference or a ball that squirts out. Like, so it was essentially over for him after this. Like, this is hard to come back from. Kyler Murray can still come back from it. Now,
He's young. That's the main thing here. You know, there's a lot of time to mature. I mean, you can't expect how old is he? 22, 23 in that range, something like that? You can't expect that guy to be a consummate professional coming out of the gate. Yeah. You got to mature a little bit. That's fine. And the bigger question is, let's say you don't, because now you have to make a decision. Do you pay or do you not pay? Let's say you don't pay him. What's your plan B? Are you going to get someone better than Kyler? I don't think so. Scroll down.
Jeez, Drew.
Well, I was looking up his age. He's 24, by the way, guys.
24. He just finished his third season, right? This was his third year.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is his third. Keep scrolling. This is his third pick. So he posted a pick with the Cardinals. I mean, he's trying to get paid. But, you know, if we were a betting species here on this podcast, I mean, these are the odds that if Kyler Murray were to leave, this is fun. I like this. This is fun stuff. So if Kyler Murray were to leave the Cardinals, the number one destination for him, according to Vegas odds, would be Tampa Bay. So that's plus 500. I mean, that would be crazy. He can throw a deep ball. Bruce Arians requires that. Broncos, because they're in all these odds. I mean,
they just need a quarterback.
Their GM came out and said in the combine they're going to be aggressive. So hey, you never know.
Yeah, it's
because living, breathing quarterback.
Yeah, if we had like odds for which NFL team would Sushane be a quarterback, the Broncos would be 1, 2, or 3 on all of them. Like it's just
every single one.
Everyone. Oh, yeah. That's Broncos plus 600. So that means if you bet 100, you win 600. By the way,
this next one,
Major League Baseball or just baseball, actually, technically.
I think those odds are going down, by the way, because of Manfred and the.
That's
baseball situation right now.
Yeah, I don't think there's really any other league unless you went to Korea or Japan, right?
Yeah, there's Korea or Japan. Those are the Mexican league.
Yeah, I don't think you would. I don't know how much money you make in the Mexican league. It doesn't sound like a lot. I don't know.
Definitely not as much as he wants with the Arizona Cardinals.
Definitely not.
It's not even close.
If the second contracts on the way. Well, yeah, plus 600 to play baseball, which I honestly don't, because I don't keep. I totally didn't think about that. Might not be baseball.
Mitchell is in the house.
Beautiful.
Just pointing that out, Mr. Mitchell.
And then it goes Packers, Steelers, Giants, Colts, and then Washington Commanders. So
getting used to that is going to be hard. Commanders.
What is the closing thoughts about Kyler Murray before let's move on to the next Kyler Murray's coming up here?
Go ahead, Sushane.
Man, so I'll say two things. I'll say which one, if I were a potential gambler, would I gamble on, and then I would say which one would be like the best fit, right? So I would say if I'm gonna gamble, I think I am gonna go with Denver just because the GM has come out, so they're gonna be aggressive. Everyone knows Denver is a quarterback away from being not just good, but potentially great. And on top of that, if you look at their personnel, they got some receivers, they got some running backs there, they got some tight ends. Their offensive line is not great, but it's good enough. And Kyler Murray can also, he's a mobile guy, so he can kind of help out whatever weaknesses the offensive line has. And they have a good defense. So I think that would be, if I'm a gambling man, it just makes most sense for Denver. In terms of best fit, Indianapolis, because of the coaching there, that's interesting.
And the running game would take so much pressure off of him.
Oh, yeah. Imagine Kyler and JT in the backfield. Oh, my God.
Yeah, right? Like read option.
Yeah.
Who would you actually go for if you're a lineman and linebacker at that point? Like,
Yeah, really tough for defenses with that
Oh, yeah.
O-line. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you think he's going to stay in Arizona, right?
I think he's gonna stay. I would if I'm
Yeah.
Arizona, I pay him. But again, we're just saying odds if he leaves. Where am I gonna bet?
Well, I'm
with?
just saying, you say literally anything you want about Kyler Murray is what I'm saying. Anything you want. Anything you want, yeah. But
Well,
that
Smokey the
was
Cat
interesting,
says
though.
Smokey the Cat says they're going to sign him at the Toros de Tijuana team.
I assume that's the Mexican baseball league.
I think that's the Bulls of Tijuana, right?
The Tijuana Bulls. Okay.
All right. Well, I don't know how much those contracts go for, but
He can break the bank. He can sign.
he's got an agent. He's got an agent.
I'm sure it's like $1 million pesos.
Oh, actually, you said the agent. That's one really okay. I have a pretty interesting point. So, you know that Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray have the same agent, right?
Yeah, I heard that.
Right. And you know that it appears at least that Kyler Murray, if he's going to stay with the Cardinals, he wants to be with Cliff Kingsbury because of that air raid offense and everything.
It's a great fit.
Right.
Cliff Kingsbury basically handpicked him. This again, the Josh Rosen
Right.
saga.
So if you think about it, Kingsbury's agent got Cliff the long-term contract, and now he's about to get his quarterback possibly a long-term contract. I think the winner in all this is the agent.
Imagine the house the agent's going to get if he
yeah.
lives in Arizona. He might as well move to Arizona if he's not there. I mean,
At this point, right?
Yeah, he's got the two big dogs there. He's got Cliff Kingsbury. He's got Kyler. He's going to get a bigger house than both of them.
Oh, yeah. Possibly. Hey, Cliff Kingsbury, he's got a nice place, though. We saw that from the
that was what I was saying. I mean, I assuming people saw the meme. The guy's living in like some fantasy house. Doesn't even look real. He's like, oh, it's just a normal house in Arizona. It's so
get out of here.
Well, it's cheap there. I'm telling you, in California, it's like you get like a dump for like $1.2 million.
Yeah.
Dump out.
Location.
Yeah. Arizona is like, oh god. If your AC breaks, you'll die though. So there's always that risk you take. Last thoughts of Kyler Murray. We're gonna move on to the next Kyler Murray. The tall.
That's all about. That's what all I got here. Drew, you got anything to say?
No, he's staying. I mean, they'll build around him. I think it's a good point. The Cliff Kingsbury extension means, that offense is going to be intact for a while, and they need Kyler to operate that offense. So they're not going to replace him.
So I honestly didn't think. So you're saying Kyler Murray's losing leverage because there might not be baseball?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you can't go to the MLB.
The ultimate scare. Right, it's like the top 10 things you're scared of. Like clowns is on my top list. Like that for the Cardinals, it's suited up. It's suited up. Yeah, being in an A's costume. They're like they can just see a headline on online like Kyler Murray like throwing the first pitch for the Oakland. Oh my God, they're gonna get so scared. Like, oh God, he's touching a baseball with his hands.
Smokey the Cat reports that the Mexican baseball league, the average pay is $7,000 to $12,000 a month, and they only play it for 5 or 6 months. So
that's breaking the freaking bank, boys. That's what he wants.
No, the agent.
7 to 12.
The agent's not gonna be happy.
Yeah, the agent might drop Kyler if he decides to do that.
That's not why
instead of the other way around.
That is definitely not why that guy became a sports agent.
All right, we got some more odds here if you guys want to.
Oh, the next, I just posted a new TikTok.
Statistics.
The odds of Aaron Rodgers, what new team Aaron Rodgers will go to. So there's about a 70% chance roughly that he stays on his team, the Green Bay Packers. Very, very tiny percent chance he retires. Now, this one's a pure guess. The retirement's a pure guess from me. The other is just research I've been looking at. So he's probably going to stay as a Packer. It's about 70% chance. But if he leaves to another team, I made a sexy pie chart. And this is a new thing I've been doing, just making sexy NFL pie charts. And again, of course, who has the biggest slice of the pie right here? 23% Denver Broncos. And then just, I think the best way to read is then it's just pretty much wishy-washy after that. 10% chance Niners, but man, if he was on the Niners, it's like I'm not going to give you a real reason why, but it just would be free. It would be Twilight Zone. It would just be it would
be something.
I just can't imagine it.
Like if I go to my Discord, the Fantasy Couch Discord, and I go to the news section and I see it, I'm going to automatically think it's fake.
Yeah,
we're going to research for like 50 minutes straight on if this is a meme or if this is news. It's like I would not believe it. So it's just
It would be too
wishy-washy.
bizarre. You're right. Everything else is kind of the same.
Yeah, so and a lot of things would have to happen. Like 3 things would have to happen in chronological order, like dominoes for this to happen. But anyway, we've got 23% chance Broncos. Then I'll just read the rest in order after that. Niners, then Colts, then Steelers, Bucks, Titans, Saints, then Raiders, and then all the other teams have a kind of a shot, but I just lumped them all together.
I mean,
What do
the
you
fact
guys
that the
think?
Raiders are on this list just tells you that no one has any idea if he does leave. Like the Raiders just signed Derek Carr. Isn't that right? Or are they still working on
No,
that?
he's going to be a free agent, I believe. They're going to need to re-sign him.
Derek Carr.
I'll
Look
look
that
it
up,
up.
Drew. Yeah, look that up.
No, I thought they just signed him back. Or maybe there was some sort of
I
rumor.
know-
There's something that's there.
I didn't hear that.
I think hold on. I think you might be right. So he's got a deal that lasts until 2022. So next year is his last season under contract.
Okay.
He signed a 5-year deal, but this is the last year of the 5-year deal. So if they trade him, that's a possibility always, right? In the last season of his contract, I guess. But he'll be an unrestricted free agent next season.
Got it.
Rodgers, why would he want to go to? Because he pretty much has a say where he's going to go.
I don't think he's leaving Green Bay, if at all. I think, if anything, the chances of him retiring are a lot higher. After reading his sappy Instagram post and how, like, he had the cleanse and he's feeling all lovey-dovey and whatnot, I think he could either hang it up or he's just going to go back to the Packers for like a mega 1-year deal, like a $50 million deal, or a 2-year $100 million deal, just to get his back pay for those 2 MVPs, basically, and then play it out in Green Bay.
Look, there's no way he retires on bottom. As they retire on top, right?
But who's to say he could be on top anymore? Honestly, I mean, he just back-to-back 2 MVPs.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that game was embarrassing.
Yeah, I agree.
I participated in 7 memes that day. It was that game. I mean, it was so embarrassing.
It was a great day.
And it was all, not all, but it was really the special teams' fault of the Packers. There's no doubt about it.
But they didn't move the ball on us.
No, if Brady was in Rodgers' shoes, they would have won. Like, we know that.
Yeah, Brady wins that game.
Brady wins that game easily. He's the GOAT. Like that just solidified that. Rodgers, he didn't play well. But that was an embarrassing. Regardless, that was an embarrassing game for the Packers, and in recent memory, it's one of the most embarrassing games ever. Right? It's not up there with the Falcons or what was in the Super Bowl or anything like that. I just mean, like, it's so bad for a guy like Rodgers, who's top 5 best quarterback of all time, maybe top 3. For a guy of that stature to go out on that game, right? We just posted a pie chart a few podcasts ago with the Packers having the biggest piece of the pie to win the Super Bowl. It's pretty embarrassing to lose in that fashion
at home.
And I just don't see any way he retires after that game. He's a guy that's unpredictable, and he could retire. I would be shocked. And I think it's a shocking
thing to have happen. If he retires, it's a shock, but I think it's more likely that he retires than goes to another team. I mean, I just don't think so. And I thought the opposite. I thought the opposite at the beginning of the season. I was all over the Broncos, I just have a feeling that the marriage is going to be intact. He's going to get Devontae to sign another 1 or 2 year deal too, along with whatever he signs, and then they'll stay in Green Bay and try to run it back.
So 100% he needs Adams to stay for.
Oh yeah,
that's a given.
So he needs Adams to stay, and
just a little pushback on your point, Couch. Not saying that I disagree or anything like that. Just kind of more playing devil's advocate. I will say, Tom Brady's last ever throw with the Patriots was an interception for a pick 6. So I thought at the time there's no way that he would leave New England with that as his last,
I don't
last
even think
play.
that's a thing. I mean, he played
in the Titans game. Yeah.
No, I don't. I just don't. What you're saying, I don't think is a thing. I'm talking about retiring. You're talking about like,
it's
you're talking about changing T-shirts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's two different things.
That's true.
It's just the bad taste in your
he
mouth.
put on a red jersey and won a Super Bowl like that. That's totally different from hosting Jeopardy. Like, it's not like, or sitting on a beach. Like, I just don't think that's. Like, I would argue more to like that.
Yeah.
That means it's definitely time to get out of here because you had nobody to throw to.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to learn a new offense if he leaves. He's going to have to get familiar with the surroundings, for example. It could be a challenge for someone at, 37, 38 years old who basically just kind of stuck in his ways already. You already know he's kind of a weird guy. So who's to say he would fit in somewhere else really on another team? When he's been like the icon in Green Bay. I just think it's going to be Green Bay or stay home, basically.
I wouldn't really say that, but with these teams, I do see that scenario because they're just so like the Broncos. There's just such a different. It's going to be such a different offense. I feel like none of the players have a grasp of what the heck's going on yet with all the changes. Like, there's always a new running back. There's always a new quarterback, a different coach. Like, there's so much going on. Yeah. They're all young, or they're young and injured and missed time. Like, how many games has Jerry Jeudy played, like, as a starter, right? And Cortland Sutton, like, there's no consistency there. So it's almost like they're a huge talent, but there's a lot of guys that just they haven't done it yet, right? Now, like Adams and Aaron Jones and Aaron Rodgers, like, they've been playing, together and under Matt LaFleur for a while. Like, it could be hard. Yeah, it's not always hard. And we saw Tom Brady was good, but there was a lot of up and downs that Super Bowl season. But
that's the go. Yeah, and he makes everybody better around him.
He just crushed it.
Yeah, he makes everybody better around him.
But his first year, there was a lot of ups and downs. I mean, that was
you're right.
The meme where he didn't know what down it was. And, I mean, his regular season had a lot of poop in it. And then they started to click really late in the season. Like,
speaking of Broncos
playoffs.
Yeah, speaking of Broncos coaching changes, I mean, they got Nathaniel Hackett now, and he was, I think, the offensive line coordinator or something like that in Green Bay. So, offensive coordinator, sorry.
Yeah, the connections are there.
You're right. Yeah.
So, yeah, that is I think the biggest threat to him leaving is
that is something too, though. That wasn't also not a coincidence.
They did that on purpose.
Not a random hire. Let's put it like that.
Right.
Not a random hire. The Packers tie was definitely planned. There was definitely a whisker hatched while doing that. At least one whisker was hatched during that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, bottom line for Aaron Rodgers is this. I've lived in Chicago for all my life. He's terrorized the city for all my life. I see nothing different for next season. He's going to stay in the NFC North, win the NFC North. God bless Aaron Rodgers.
Lose the Niners in the conference title game.
Exactly.
Yeah, there we go. I love it. Yeah, he's really comfortable just whooping that division. That's one real good reason to stay there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Legitimate reason to stay there. 100%.
All right, what do we got next? I think we're doing Dynasty now. What are we doing?
Yeah, we got Brain's perfect Dynasty settings.
I posted this several times, so just wanted to do it again and just confirm that you guys like this or don't. So we're going to be talking about Dynasty Fantasy Football, what to do in the offseason. I just wanted to reiterate my perfect settings, and they've been adjusted a little bit throughout the years, but I think this is just perfect. Our Discord this is pretty much the standard for our Discord when people create leagues. So I like it super flex for the roster setting. So that's 1 quarterback, 1 super flex, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and 1 regular flex, full PPR, of course. I love tight end premium because I'm very wary of drafting rookie tight ends, and tight ends are so up and down, this and that. But when the data shows, especially not just my thoughts, but when you put it and you boost it to 1.5 points per reception to the tight end position, now all of a sudden you can draft any position. Running backs are scarce, quarterbacks are scarce because it's super flex and really important. Wide receivers are ideal in Dynasty. They last long and it's full PPR. And now all of a sudden you need a good tight end because they get a lot of points. So you can pretty much draft any position. You never know what's going to happen. It's just more exciting and kind of equals everything out and makes it a lot more fun. And if you guys are not noobs, I do love having a taxi squad. It really gives you that GM feel, cut day. You know, you're really expanding on rookies. You know, those, what do I call them? 6-round rookies in Dynasty, or should I say guys outside of the top 50, outside of the top 70 rookies. So I really love Taxi Squad. But if you guys are a band of total noobs, like 6 or 7 of you guys have never played Dynasty before, might be better to not do Taxi Squad. It's going to just add another complexity. It's going to basically add like 20 more arguments and confusions in your league if you're total noobs. But if you've done Dynasty before, you're a pro, I highly do recommend Taxi Squad. Now, do you guys agree or disagree with my settings?
I'm going to let Sushane go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with these settings. I like them. I have one thing to add. Very important. And I'm pretty confident that the number I'm going to give you is a good number because me and Drew, we just did a 14 team. It was a 1 quarterback because it was 14 team, but we did a startup draft. And we did have a league argument about
today,
revolving around Taxi Squad. It only happened today, which is, pretty good for the timing of this podcast. But instead of just going through the drama and what the argument was, I'll tell you what the resolution was, right? The resolution was if you're gonna do your startup draft and you're gonna have rookies in your startup, that means you can draft guys like Treylon Burks, or maybe you draft like a placeholder or something to draft.
Which is what I prefer. I prefer to have it all in all. We call it all players draft or whatever.
All players draft, right?
Yeah.
You can't include the Taxi Squad in terms of like your full roster. So what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, let's say you have 9 starters, 11 bench, and 4 taxi. You don't want to make your draft 24 rounds. You want to make it only 20. All right?
Wait, now,
I'm sorry. No.
I would not have a Taxi Squad the first year.
I had it backwards, Brian. My fault. You do want to make it, in that case, when you have the rookies in there, you do want to make it the 24-round draft so you can put those guys in your taxi. If you're doing something where the rookies are going to be drafted later on, like a separate supplemental rookie draft, that's when you do not want to include the taxi in your total, numbers of rounds draft. So again, going back to that example, 9 starters, 11 bench, that's 20 players and 4 taxi. If your rookies are separate, you actually just want to do that 20-round draft and not 24.
Yeah, because I'll explain it a little bit further. What ends up happening is some guys don't want to take a rookie pick or a placeholder pick, let's say, and they may draft, say, 22 veterans who don't qualify for taxi, and then they got 2. So now they actually have to drop 2 players. Once the draft is over, if they still have the 24, but 22 are veterans and the other 2 are rookies, they're actually 2 over the roster limit at that point because they can't put 2 of those guys in the taxi. It's a little bit complicated if you're just speaking about it out loud, but when you see it on your Sleeper app, it makes a lot of sense. And the idea is that some guys go for veterans mostly, and some guys want to go rebuild right away. And that's just kind of the name of the game. It's strategy.
All right, this is getting a little complicated, but I get what you guys are saying. It's
right.
Good, but I think just looking more big pictures, take a step back.
Sure.
It gets more complicated. Taxi Squad gets more complicated. And I think just being practical, making bylaws of your league and having league rules, it's kind of unnecessary for a redraft league. Like you can do it if you're, really into it as a commission. I'm a pretty serious commission. I don't have one. But for a dynasty league, I think it's a good idea. Like I saw Sushane and Danny, they made some bylaws and stuff.
Beautiful.
And so it'll kind of, help with stuff like this, especially, Taxi Squad, IR and trades and, this off season. So just knowing what to do with a Taxi Squad and other things to have bylaws or a set of rules, like your 10 commandments type of thing for, your dynasty league, I think is a good idea. Yeah, that first year you can just not even have a taxi squad the first year, to be honest. I know that's weird too, but it would simplify stuff. Or just do it like you guys did. I do 24 rounds. Your roster's 20 plus 4 taxi squad. That works too. I mean, there's always gonna be issues. Like it's more complicated.
Yeah,
With,
it does.
And with taxi squad, and you need experience. Like
that 100%, absolutely.
Because there's just so many rules.
It's complicated, man. Just
yeah.
Keep it simple. It's complicated.
Yeah.
Just who's on the taxi squad is different. Like in one of our leagues, you can actually put a guy who's in his second year in the taxi, but in our other leagues, you can literally just put a rookie in the taxi.
Wait, but
right?
why?
So
no.
it's a setting. It's a setting.
That's too much, though.
I know,
That's
but you have to know. You have to look at the settings.
It's like the right.
I know. The commission that league is actually changing that rule, I believe, this offseason.
That's too weird. It's just like random.
It is
rules
weird.
Almost.
It is weird.
Yeah. It's like
one thing I wanted to mention, just to add to this, if I were to add anything, I would say make your rookie draft 4 rounds, not 5.
4 rounds.
I mean? 4 round rookie
5
draft.
Is great with the super flex.
Maybe you're right. With super flex, 5 could be okay, but you could leave some guys out there where it could be somewhere they pick them up off waivers, even.
But that's what I don't want. That's what I don't want. I don't want.
So
is it a
in that case, it depends what you want for your league. Because I'm the type of guy who I kind of want waivers to be a little spicy, but not too thick, but definitely a little bit flavored in there. But if you're a guy who you want most of the guys to be drafted, then 5 rounds is the way to go.
5 rounds for super flex. I say 5 rounds for super flex if it's 12 team. If it's 14 team, that's different. That's a lot more. But if it's 12 team, I like 5 rounds for super flex, 4 rounds if it's not super flex.
Okay,
yeah,
that's
it's
a good topic.
4 rounds for 1 QB, because
that's my perfect number. Because I'm not with waivers a lot. Like that's why there is a draft. You're able to draft, to trade draft picks. There's some kind of order there. And waivers is just auction. That's the leftovers or auction. And in some leagues, right? And I'm just gonna be real. Some people they don't know the settings or don't think of it. And it's humans, we make mistakes, and it could be set on free for all and nobody knows. And so right after the draft is done, people are doing the free for all thing. And you can say whatever you want, like, oh, don't make that setting that way. But I mean, just be real. Like I've heard this story a lot. It's happened in a lot of our leagues. Is like we just simply forget, and then it's like free for all, and people are just picking up, rookies right after the draft ends. And if you make the draft 1 round shorter, then that is. Honestly, look, I don't care. But just to know, again, big picture, it's complicated. It's very tough. I think these are my perfect settings, and I put them in a very short, condensed screenshot. The people watching this, screenshot this right now. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's perfect. This is what you need.
This is what you need. You'll have fun. And then just 22 arguments will be about the taxi squad. So if you want to avoid that, just put in your bylaws or scratch it out. Bylaws are good. Taking time to write those bylaws are good. All right, so we got a section here. Tell me if I did a good job breaking this down. So basically, these guys want to talk about how to approach the off season for Dynasty. So you're saying there's 3 there's three categories. You want to put your team in one of these 3 categories. That's the first thing, right? You want to decide which one of these 3 categories you're in, right?
Correct. And you need an honest evaluation of this.
Brutally.
The way I go about it is I ask myself 2 questions. I ask myself, 1, where did I finish in the standings a year ago? And then the second question I ask myself is, why did I finish in X place that year?
I finished the 6th place because of Saquon Barkley.
Sure, that's a thing. Okay.
I'm answering the question.
Okay, well then.
And yet Antonio Gibson.
Sure, so injuries derailed it. So you still have a good team. So maybe you're not ready to go in full rebuild.
You're still building.
You're still building, perhaps. Or maybe, you actually do have a good team. Injuries just really messed it up. You could actually potentially run it back. So that would be something that I would say if you're giving me that vague information of I finished 6th because of Saquon Barkley, I think you're probably in category 1 or 2. So the point is you should ask yourself those 2 questions, And based on your answers to those two questions, you should be able to fit your team into one of these three, as Drew said, categories, right? One is run it back. That means you got a good team. I'm trying to run it back. I can win this again. Or maybe you came close to winning. Now is the year. Still building. It's like, hey, you know what? I'm in year 2 of my rebuild, or maybe, I have young assets that are still, haven't entered the prime of their careers yet. That's still building. And then, of course, we all know what rebuilding is. My team is trash. I need to fix it ASAP. So those are the three categories.
So I'm in category 1 if Saquon Barkley gets traded to any other team other than the New York Poop Giants. And I'm probably unfortunate. There's luck. There's luck in fantasy.
Oh yeah.
I have to say there is luck in fantasy, and it just seems unless I get super lucky, I'd probably fall into category 2 if Saquon Barkley stays on the Giants, because how can you even trust them on that team?
Dabble.
It's horrible.
You got a decent
Yeah,
offensive
Brian
mind
Daboll
now.
is pretty good, but Couch has a good reason to be concerned, because there's also that rumor they're floating around that they're going to trade Saquon, and that's like, I don't know about that.
I should definitely trade him. What is a running back going to do? Running back's going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I don't understand how you guys aren't on board. That's the thing, yes. So if you can't,
I agree and I disagree. I can see
I don't think you're gonna get much back.
It's all about winning a Super Bowl, and it's just like Dynasty. His lifespan is not that high, and let's be quite frank, as a New York Giant, his lifespan is even shorter because he's getting murdered every play. So what are you gonna do?
Stepped on by his receivers. Sorry.
I mean, it's short of like Eli Manning coming back and tackling him, or Daniel Jones like stripping the ball from him. Like he's getting destroyed. Like
that injury with Kadarius Toney was so freak, but it was horrible.
I didn't honestly. That wasn't even a joke on that. Yeah, he did kind of.
That was so bad.
Trip on
so
his own
unlucky.
teammate in a way that. Well, yeah, I mean, but it's so bad that why wouldn't it was a mistake drafting him, because
they had other needs, basically.
At the time, I thought it was good, but I was wrong. Yeah, they drafted a running back too early, and running back doesn't usually mean you're winning a Super Bowl. You need other positions like a quarterback, for instance.
Yeah, receivers, weapons.
Yeah, O-line for them especially. I'd say definitely for them. Put that in bold for them.
Yeah,
O-line. Like, you really need O-line. Well, let's see, and a good team, they can really do a lot with Saquon. So I think if he gets traded, I'm in category 1. This is the league that you guys aren't in, because you guys are very familiar with my other team in that league. I'm definitely in category 3 in that league. In this league, I got Mahomes, I got Kittle, I got Barkley, I got Diggs. I think my kicker's great. Yeah, we got a kicker in this league. So my team's good, but it
sounds like a run it back type of team to me.
But Kittle and Saquon typically destroy my season with injuries, so just can't do it.
Not next year with Kittle. Kittle, I think, is going to stay healthy next season. But
Saquon needs to get traded, dude. If he gets traded, like, I am so.
Well, have you thought about trading Saquon in this league to see what you can get for him and maybe improve your position, your matchups against other top teams?
I think his stock is at all-time low, and I just don't sell low usually.
That's smart.
It might be lower than normal, but I think you could still get a Saquon.
I mean, according to this
truther
flow chart here, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's
well. Let's go over it. I'll read it.
I don't know. Yeah.
I'm going to read the run it back, and then Sushane's going to kind of expand on some points, for example. So when we were thinking about the run it back crew, we're thinking about, the top finishers from last season for the most part. And those guys are going to have late first round picks. So we were thinking that they should trade their first and or second round picks to fill needs, for example, and not necessarily use those picks. Do you want to expand on that a little bit, Sushane, as far as the strategy involved?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll actually use an example in a league that all three of us are in. The Empire League.
Mm-hmm.
I traded away Rondale Moore, pretty close to the rookie draft, or like right after the rookie draft. So he hadn't played a snap yet, so it wasn't like a decreased or diminished value Rondale Moore. This is a full value Rondale Moore. I gave Couch actually Rondale Moore, a 2023 first, which people value in the community because, they are aware of the stacked 2023 rookie class. And I think some other like small piece for J.K. Dobbins. Now, obviously, we know Dobbins got hurt and that derailed my own team, but that's the type of move you make, right? What's a 2023 rookie pick going to do for you if you have a team with guys like Aaron Rodgers, Mike Evans, Travis Kelce, Derrick Henry? You need to win now. You can't wait for this 2023 guy, even though, you could be in love with him, the youth, XYZ, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's going to take time for him to be Derrick Henry, for example.
Definitely.
Just go trade your 2023 1 and 2. People are willing to overpay at this point for a unproven talent who has not played a single snap in football. That's just how it is. People are willing to overpay for 2023 rookie picks now. It's just now just go trade and go get a guy who's going to help you and actually win your team.
I feel like I got a lot of value, not in hindsight. I feel like I got a lot of value for that.
Well, I also valued J.K. Dobbins very highly, and then that was before he got hurt.
I did too. J.K. Dobbins had a lot of potential.
Even now.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
I don't regret that trade on my end at all because I knew at that point I had to go all in. I took over the winning team, and my team was only getting older, not younger. I didn't really have many picks.
I guess it's Rondale Moore. I guess, now we can have a different opinion, but I guess if you didn't really value him that much, you just wanted to. Why did you throw him in? Just to shore it up, just to get the deal done fast.
I also knew that. So what I did in the rookie draft, I did another thing, Couch. We didn't write this down for the running back strategy, but this might be something you might be interested in doing for that Mahomes league you were talking about. I actually ended up downsizing my running backs and getting some other value back. So, for example, I traded away Kamara for Montgomery and McLaurin, and then I traded away Derrick Henry for Javonte, Amari Cooper, and I think Rondale and Diami Brown, I believe.
Yeah, during the draft.
So that's another thing. You can downsize those running backs.
But what does that mean exactly? Just trade them, get back a running back, and
split the value.
Who's better, Kamara or Montgomery? Obviously, Kamara.
But he got McLaurin Montgomery. So you're splitting value, basically. It's like I got like a 7.5, let's just say, out of 10, and I'm splitting it to get a 5, and I'm getting in a 5 running back and a 5 wide receiver.
So you get back a running back though, and
you
plus some
and a wide receiver. So you got Terry and you got.
That's I'm just trying to define what downsized running back means. You get back a running back.
You get back a lesser quality running back and a legitimate piece to kind of make up the value.
But you definitely
downgrade
get
running back to upgrade.
Okay.
Yeah, you're filling needs basically.
In the case of in one of my trades, I ended up trading Derrick Henry for a pick and Amari Cooper, and that pick ended up becoming Javonte Williams. So you can see
1.09, I believe.
Right, the 1.9 or 1.8 or something like that. So you can see how this strategy, even for a win now or very close to win now type of team, can be profitable. You can see that.
Yeah, and I think the other point to make about this is I drafted Waddle in that same league in Empire at the 1.12, right? The 12th overall pick. And so he didn't necessarily develop until later on in the season. If you were a running back team, for example, you'd want your rookie to hit the ground running. You'd want him to be like Jamar Chase right out of the gates. You'd want a higher pick, for example, a higher quality player if you had it. If not, go trade that first or second round pick for a veteran player who is going to be already highly involved in the offense and going to hit the ground running when the season opens, because you need to start winning games quickly because you want to build up your record. You want to have the bye. You want to have a chance of winning this season as opposed to waiting for Waddle to fully develop next season, right? Now, Waddle's kind of a bad example because he played well, but I also took Devontae Smith, I think, with the 1.10 or so, so I had 10th and 12th overall pick. So I got Waddle and Devontae, and Devontae didn't really develop very much at all last season. I mean, compared to Jamar Chase. So I think it's just a matter of getting the guy that's going to help you now versus getting the guy that's going to help you 2 years from now.
One more thing to add to that, because you were saying that running backs, usually the good ones at least, hit they day one they're pretty good.
Usually, yeah.
Usually, right, if they're good ones for the long haul. So that means that I'm trading Derrick Henry. well, let's not use Javonte Williams because he was more of a, he's going to really break out this year as kind of a later guy. Let's say I got, for example, Najee Harris, just for example, right? I'm also extending my winning window a little bit because I'm getting younger at the RB position. That's the one position that has the shortest lifespan. So by going from a guy like Kamara, Dalvin, Derrick Henry to a guy, obviously you would be doing this last year. This year you'd probably be looking at guys like Breece Hall or Isaiah Spiller. If that guy hits the ground running, it becomes a low-end RB1 this season. Maybe he ends up finishing as like the RB4, RB5 at best. Not only did you get the production you were looking for, but you got younger at the position. Gives you more flexibility in the long run, in the long haul.
Yeah, you get more prime age of a position at that point. Right. So let's move on to the second point. It says assess top teams and improve matchups. Just briefly, I'll give Sushane the floor here in a moment, but it's basically looking at all the other top contending teams and figuring out what you need to build a team that's going to be matching up well with them. You want to expand on that point, or did I kind of?
Sure. So let's go back to that example with me and couch trading with the J.K. Dobbins. Why did I go for J.K. Dobbins? I could have got Tyreek Hill. I could have tried for maybe, DK Metcalf, A.J. Brown. But I needed a running back. I saw my team with Derrick Henry and Kamara, and then I ended up going from those two guys to Javonte Williams and David Montgomery. I was cool with David Montgomery, but I knew Javonte Williams, he might not be an RB. He might not be one of those guys because Melvin Gordon was there who hits the ground running necessarily. So I need to win. I need to win this year. So I need a running back, and I need a good one. I don't want to go all in necessarily and get one of the older guys. So I went for J.K. Dobbins. That's why I went for a running back, because I assessed the other top teams who were, in my opinion, I thought were the top teams. And I figured out, okay, what position, what player or players do I need to make myself feel comfortable that, hey, my team, if I showed it to 100 people, 99 of them would say it's better than the other teams.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Do you have anything you want to comment on that, Hussein?
No, let's move on to the next one.
Sure.
Okay, because I think those are great points for anybody running it back. Let's talk about still building. I would classify myself as still building in the Empire League, and you're kind of like middle of the road. I think I finished 6th last season, but you have some upside, and you think you might be able to build a championship contender soon. So you want to move up rookie first and get higher first. Like I have the 6th and the 12th overall pick. It'd probably be smart for me to move up into the top 3 or 4 if at all possible.
Here's the thing. I always want to do this. Is it not easier said than done?
We actually made this point last night when we were doing our quick chat to prep. So Sushane said, hey, you got 12 guys in the league, right? Well, now you're one of those guys. So now there's 11 left. There's always like 2 or 3 guys in a league that just don't trade for their first round picks ever, right? Like, so you just got to cancel them off the board right away. So now you're down to like 9, 8 people that may be tradable partners. Well, some of those guys may have traded their first already, right? So Brain, you have like 3 first round picks. Sushane has like 2, right? So now we're down to like 2 or 3 possible trade partners to make this work.
That's and some of those guys, the process of elimination. So
right. And some of those guys may not have the pick that you want anyway. So he made a really good point in explaining this to me out loud last night. So I just thought I'd regurgitate that.
Yeah, it's all good.
So you're saying just the first process of elimination, then just talk to those 2-3 guys that you can
at that point, like you were saying, it's hard to pull this off. That's the reason why it's hard to pull it off. Because at the end of the day, you may only have 2 or 3 real possibilities to make the trade work that you actually want.
Yeah. This kind of goes into an advice that more fits the rebuilding thing. But like for that reason, because your trade partners kind of go away quickly, if you are going to choose to rebuild or still build through rookie picks and younger talent, make sure you're one of the first people to try to collect rookie picks and not one of the last people. Because if you're one of the first guys, everyone's DMs are available except for like the 1 or 2 guys who just won't trade their pick until they're on the clock. But once like example, Hussein already had 3 first round picks, I'm down to now like 7, 8 people.
Yeah.
And then you had a couple, Drew. Now I'm down to like 4, 5, 6 at the most. So your options, dwindle pretty quickly if you're not on top of it. So that's kind of more. I guess you can put that as advice for both still building and rebuilding. In terms of the first point, to move up rookie picks and get higher firsts, some guys might say like, first of all, the rookie hit rate is 50%, blah blah blah. And like, I kind of want the 2 firsts, like whatever, like it's a second player, it's a second like lottery ticket, if you will. I'm just gonna say one thing to really counter that. First of all, yeah, regardless of whatever rookie you take, you are taking a risk. Welcome to the world of rebuilding and still building. You're taking a risk. You have to. Absolutely. Even running it back, I took a risk on J.K. Dobbins. I fell flat on my face. So like it happens.
That's just bad luck.
He even had Gus Edwards.
Even then I tried to get Gus Edwards in a desperation move. That failed.
Who'd you make that trade with?
Shut up, dude.
The audience doesn't know.
That's true. That's true. Yeah,
come on.
Yeah, Couch just destroyed me.
Yeah, it's not. It was only half joke. The other half because the audience didn't know that it was from the same person.
So when the hack the line or hack the rebuild episode goes off, we should tell them like where those picks came from.
Yeah, well,
how he got this pick. It was this and that.
First of all, when we do that, we got to give it like this is not fake. People's gonna think my team's fake.
Yeah, they will.
People are gonna think because I get to witness a lot of people post their like essentially a meme of how many picks they got, and I'm like, man, that ain't even half as good as my picks.
Bro, you know what sucks? Like I traded one of my picks to you to get like a rookie pick a year earlier, and I got Elijah Moore. And then I traded Elijah Moore, so I don't even have that guy.
Oh, you traded? That's almost like your guy.
That was my guy. Like, oh God. Anyway,
I love Elijah Moore. But you know what? Let's just be real, because he is on the Jets. Like, bad things might happen.
That's true.
Mar's in the league.
Yeah,
Mar's in the league. He said I came in and got them both for next year. So I think he's talking about Dobbins, right? Because he got Dobbins from you. Is that what he's talking about?
I know for a fact he got Elijah Moore from me. I'm not sure about Dobbins.
I think so.
Dobbins I gave to Gene, and then Gene
I don't know why he said both of them. I don't understand.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
I feel like he's saying it like we're
clarify.
Supposed to understand. But
well, we're in the league. We should probably have an idea.
Just to finish that point, right?
Sorry,
so people might say 50-50 rookie rate, whatever, bust rate, fine. But you got to understand one thing, man. The rookie first round is not like your startup first, where it's like, at the 112, you're still getting like a really good player. Like, in one quarterback, you're getting like an AJ Brown, or in Superflex, you're getting like a Dak Prescott.
I drafted Jalen Reagor in the first round.
Exactly. It's like, so the reason
that video is cringe,
so
it's so bad.
So he got Dobbins and Gus, and then he also got Elijah in the same deal. He's saying I have
pull that up if you can, Drew. But anyway,
I go take a dump in Sushane's bathroom, and then the MR picks it up. And
oh god, this is a good trade. I might have to pull this on the screen. Give me a second.
Really?
Keep talking.
Sure. So the reason why you want to move up these rookie picks, first of all, if you have the luxury to. Right? Sometimes you need all the rookie picks to just fill out the roster, in which case at that point you probably want to get more rookie picks because it's not a perfect hit rate. But you just have a better chance of getting a real good asset if you pick higher. And it's not like your startup draft where you can still get someone good in round 2, round 3, round 4. At the 108, at the 109, you might be done. There might be in a given year no players left after the 10 guys are gone. So you got to be pretty careful in deciding when you want to keep those picks and then trading it up.
It is a recurring theme. I think one of the best moves I got like at 1.11 was Devin Singletary. And it wasn't even that great. I mean, he didn't help. That's the same team I'm talking about with Saquon. Yeah. I mean, it didn't help me win anything. And
so at that point, you were probably better off.
It was a great value pick. Like at the time, like it was like I hit the ball as far as it can go, and it was Devin Singletary at 1.11. And I mean, there's usually a fall off right there when you're talking about early first, mid first, and then boom, late first is like, it's like you're getting a bust. Essentially, a late first. A lot of times.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have this trade here. Okay, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Bring it up. Go ahead. Bring it up. Let's see.
You sure? I want
Let's see
to
it.
kind of hide it from the viewers real quick. So let me put it down here. It's going to be kind of small because of the fact that I had to cut it from.
Okay, yeah, I remember this. I can explain my side of it, why I did this.
Let
So
me take
again,
his
I'm
comment
win
off of
now.
there.
I'm win now, and this is at the point where Dobbins and Edwards are out for the year. I know Amar is a big Jets or Elijah Moore fan because this was not the first time he asked for
He
him.
has Zach Wilson too.
Yes.
And he drafted Denzel Mims. Just saying.
Bro, wait.
I'm
He
just
traded
dog
for
Denzel
traded. Sorry.
Did he trade Denzel Mims and a higher pick for Freiermuth?
I was trying not to bring that up every episode.
Every third episode, at least.
Every episode we bring it up. But
I'm
yes,
sorry,
he does
Mark.
have have some. Yeah, he does. So he has Zach Wilson, Denzel Mims.
Go back to your point. Sorry,
Elijah Moore.
Right.
You don't want that. You don't want a lot of Jets on your team. It's usually not a good idea.
Hey, I got Michael Carter. If you want to come get him, no, I'm joking. I like Michael Carter.
Yeah.
We differ. Anyway, so this is a super flex league.
He was good. He was better than you thought the first year.
Yeah,
but he doesn't think he's good long term. Possibly.
I don't think. Yeah, I'm not as high in him as.
That's like every running back. every running back is bad long term.
Amar's got short term memory.
Literally every running back is bad long term.
Who's Denzel Mims? Says the Amar. Who is Denzel Mims? That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know how to spell his name.
We got to lay off Amar for a second.
He knows how to spell his name. That's already a sign that he knows who he is.
What do you think about this trade, though? I kind of like this trade for Amar here. I mean, obviously, you got the handcuff with Mixon and Perrine.
Let me explain it real quick, though, Drew.
You go ahead.
Before you start harping on
critical.
Here, all right? Yeah. If this is a super flex league, that means you start two quarterbacks. I only had two. I only had Rodgers and Cousins. I had no third quarterback. Dobbins was hurt. Edwards was hurt. I had Montgomery, who was fine. I had Javonte and Gordon. I had them both. That was fine. I could get that enough production there. I feel like this is something that I definitely in terms of like hindsight looking back at it, it's an awful trade for me.
You didn't think Wentz would be that bad.
Yeah, also that.
Or I mean, just he thought he'd be a little bit better.
A little better, at least serviceable,
he didn't think he'd be great. Yeah, serviceable.
Right.
I don't think it's a horrible trade. I think it might just be slightly favorable.
Mixon did great.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the time, Mixon
did great.
Prime player. He was like top 5 running back at the time, and Wentz wasn't terrible necessarily. He wasn't great.
And then
it was for the run.
Ignore the picks. The picks are both garbage.
They're null and void at that point.
All
right. So let's go back to our points that we were trying to make with rebuild and building, for example. I think we just have a couple more to go for rebuilding, right? So let's move on to that.
But this is a good ego booster for me. We can't just let this slide here.
Oh yeah, I was going to bring that up during questions, but good point. So I'll read it. It says, I thought, and this is from the Omar. So it says, I thought 5-round rookie drafts was too many rounds until I actually had a 5-round rookie draft in our league. In Superflex, it's great. You want to expand on that, or
like Kellen Mond last year and Davis Mills, etc. Yeah,
and the tight ends, you had a couple tight ends go a little bit later, like Hunter Long, and
that's true.
Yeah,
I dig it.
Trey McKitty.
Especially you guys know more rookies than me, so it's like when I'm done with the 5-round rookie, there's still like a couple names that I'm looking at on waivers, and it's like you might as well put them in the draft, so it's at least some kind of
Couch. This might be a 2022 rookie draft specific thing because I'm looking at the 5th round. I'm like,
that's kind of why I was saying it because of this year's class.
Yes, but I mean,
but next year's class could prove.
But there's always next year after that.
Yeah,
next year.
Okay.
Next year you're gonna be hitting the waivers like it's just gold. You're gonna be digging through piles of poop, like looking for diamonds and gold. Be like, ooh. Like right after the draft, I already know next year there's going to be lots of gems.
Yeah, you'll find a ring and all that trash.
Oh god!
and
god, the ring. Where is
just to go a little further with the Mars trading here. He said he flipped Elijah Moore for Travis Etienne. That's a good trade, I think.
I dig it.
I think that's a good trade. Even though the Lisfranc surgery can be a little bit sketchy, I don't think it's gonna.
Urban Meyer's gone, so that's a plus, and it's full PPR.
Yeah, and if he can play, like he did in college with Trevor Lawrence, it's going to be a nightmare for defenses.
Wait till you guys see the draft party. I got some. This is the last year we have a turducken. Guys, this is like
you better book your flight, Sushane.
the draft party.
Hey, if I'm invited, I'll be coming. Hopefully,
the only
I'll try to make it.
Oh, I'm
so
sure you would
so
be.
even if you came in second or third or fourth, whatever, I was just telling Sushan, like, if you come first, it's like much harder to kick you out of the league.
Right.
So
And I just came in dead last.
He didn't come in first.
I came in dead last. Bro. It was fun.
Yeah, technically, it doesn't really.
I came in first in one thing.
How you carry yourself is what comes next, because it didn't really matter if you came in 12th or 7th. Like, it wouldn't have had any. Like, oh, he came in 7th. We really got to have this guy back next. No, it's just hard to get. Somebody wins, they're on the trophy. It's hard to just kick him out the next year. Like, it's kind of a whack thing to do. So you didn't get first, but you might get an invite back. But I'm already planning on how to upgrade it next year and the year after, because I know this year, the 2022 draft is the last year of the turducken. Definitely having it one more time in memory of John Madden. And the last time in memory of John Madden, we will have a turducken. I already know what we're doing the year after. If I can pull it off, it's going to be sick. It's going to cost some money, but I'm thinking ahead, just like Dynasty, right? We're thinking 2022 draft, we're thinking 2023 draft, maybe even 2024.
That's kind of our next point.
Building up.
Yeah, that's kind of our point.
I'm thinking, what's up? It has to keep getting better.
Yeah, the point number 2, it says identify strengths of the next 2 rookie classes. So Hussein is still building up this draft.
That's what Couch is doing. He's thinking 2 years ahead for this league.
Yeah,
I like it.
And as a still building team, the point of doing that would be, it's like, hey, I may take a wide receiver this year because they're really deep, and next year I might be shooting to fill my running back position, for example, since it's a deeper class for running backs next season. Ideas on that?
It's the exact reason why, although conventional wisdom would tell you, hey, if you have the first overall pick and there's a good running back, you might want to take him because the value is there. But, I'm one of those guys who I play Devy, which is more of an extension of Dynasty, where it's, you really start scouting and digging through the college players years and years and years in advance. And I know that, hey, next year's running back class, 2024's running back class, way better. Way better.
Stacked.
I'd rather wait 1 year to get my way better running back and get a wide receiver this time. On top of that, I do see that there's limited numbers of wide receivers available in the next 2 years compared to this one.
That is true.
So it makes sense. All the stars.
You have a good one out of LSU.
That's why you need to identify the strengths of the next, I would say, 2. If you want, I'm crazy. I'm all the way till 2026 because we're getting data from that. You don't need to do that. That's overkill at that point.
Now, is there any?
Sushane's rankings are awesome, by the way.
Is there any
Love them.
Real strategy with being contrarian? Because the thing with Dynasty, whenever I get into talks with anybody, everyone has the same opinion, same exact opinion on every class. Or are you saying, because you did research 2 years in advance, you have a leg up? Because doesn't everybody know this? Or does it not matter because some teams are rebuilding while others are going for the trophy this year?
What I'd say is this, Couch. It is about the players, but it's not precisely about the players. It's about the scarcity of a position more than anything else. So in 2024, for example, there's already 6 guys we're talking about that could have round 2 or better NFL
6 running backs.
6 running backs that could be picked in round 2 or better. That's a lot. It's a lot. Usually by this time, that list would only be 3. So you can deduce that, okay, well, not all 6 of these guys will end up making it probably. But so let's say 1 or 2 of them fall off. The other 4 guys are still good, and that's a thick class. And on top of that, there's always 1 or 2 guys. Joe Burrow is the poster child of this example right now, who just come out of nowhere and just produce. We have a running back this year, Kenneth Walker, who did that. One more thing is, and this is a trend that I've noticed just because I've done this for a little bit, right? I have noticed one pretty strong trend that although the names might be different, the number of players at a position kind of stays the same. Let me explain real quick. Last year, who were the big three running backs? Najee Harris, Travis
Javonte.
Etienne, and Javonte Williams, right? If you were to ask me 1 year before we drafted, so 2 years ago, I would have told you there's 3 good running backs in this rookie class for 2021. I would have said Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, and Chuba Hubbard. But then Chuba Hubbard had a back injury, so now we're down to 2. Javonte Williams came up out of nowhere. We're back to 3. So even though the names weren't perfect, the quantity is still there. And because I know, for example, 3 running backs are available here, more wide receivers there, 2 tight ends in 2023, I have a general idea of when to pick which position because I know what's going to be available.
Are you talking just running back?
No, every position.
Every position.
Quarterback, like not wide
Even
receiver though.
Tight ends, quarterbacks, yeah, everything.
Everything.
He's looked at them as far out to like 2025. You know, the guys that are getting recruited to start college.
So if you're saying there's 5 good quarterbacks, you're saying typically if one drops off, another like Zach Wilson emerges.
Exactly.
Yeah, correct.
Okay,
And it's not always perfect.
That's something I wanted to hear. Something I didn't know. That's something I didn't know because like I always hear, oh, this is a good wide receiver class. 2023 is a good class. This is stuff that like I can know, right? And I get like that's something like I didn't know. That's
the best tight end is coming out next season, for example. Like you should.
This is just the way that I think about it because I'm looking. Look, you guys you were saying, Couch, I have 1 team and run it back. Drew, you were saying I have 1 team still building. Dog, most of my teams are rebuilding because that's what I'm good at. And I'm good at it because I'm doing the work and the research years in advance. So I know who's falling, who's rising, what's available,
who's transferring,
how many, who's transferring, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Why are they
transfer portal is a big thing in college right now.
Yeah. Who got hurt? How bad is the injury? Is it severe?
What's the transferring? What is it?
It's kind of like college free agency. Well, like Caleb Williams, one of the top quarterbacks, Oklahoma, for example. I think he's at 2023, right, Sushane?
2024.
2024. He was one of the best true freshmen all season last year, and his coach.
I would argue and say he was probably the most electrifying, flashiest quarterback in all of college football. Continue.
Absolutely. So the Oklahoma coach transfers. His name again, I forgot it off the top.
Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln Riley transfers to USC. Caleb Williams transfers to USC. So he's literally going to be with the guy that recruited him in the first place, basically.
Couch,
in a different college.
The thing to know is that.
What does that mean? What's the significance of that? How do I win a dynasty league with it?
So the thing to know is that, college programs, forget about the Alabamas and Ohio States. I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about like all the other like mediocre to good programs. They can excel really quickly, or they can fall off a map pretty quickly. I'm looking at Clemson, who all of a sudden, I'm looking at a school like Texas, who was a laughingstock, and we'll talk about
coming up next
when
season,
we talk about them. Right, they're coming up soon. So in a blink of an eye, things can happen, and you want to make sure that. Look, college is a time where development is of the utmost importance here, right? If I see Caleb Williams, for example, let's just stay on that example here. If I see that Caleb Williams is in a situation where arguably one of the best offensive coaches, offensive minds has left, okay, and then on top of that, all of the best recruits who are committed to that school, they're all decommitting and going somewhere else. You can tell those are the signs that the program is going down. You don't want, again, for development purposes, you want a guy like Caleb Williams, for example, to be in the best possible situation. So when he transferred to USC, he continues with Lincoln Riley, brilliant offensive mind, and now it just so happened that where do those Oklahoma recruits go? To USC. So he's got all of that going for him again. That stability is there. The development is going to, we hope, be there. And that's not the case, or at least there is some question marks about development in a case like Spencer Rattler, who's now in Nebraska. There's nothing special about Nebraska. Just saying.
I think did Rattler go to Nebraska or did he go to South Carolina?
Was it South Carolina? Was it Nebraska? Someone transferred over to Nebraska.
He is a South
Trey Sermon transfer.
Yeah, Rattler's at South Carolina. Yeah, he's at South Carolina.
Either way, I mean,
I'll find out who went to Nebraska.
Either way, like South Carolina, are they special? No, they're not. USC, now they can be. Now they can.
They're one of the better programs, traditionally speaking.
Yeah, that's also true. I mean, they have had good history, the Trojans. But yeah, so I mean, that's why you want to identify the strengths of these. I would say next two. That's a safe number to go with, just so you have an idea of like, okay, like, I'm on the clock with my 1.03. There's a good running back here, but there's also a good receiver. And in terms of just like, which player do I like better? I'm really torn. I'm 50-50. I'm not sure what to do here. And again, this is the category of still building. So it's not like you're in that run it back situation where it's like, okay, I need a running back or I need this. It's just like, I just need any player. I just need to keep building. Well, now it's like, okay, well, if I take a running back and I need a receiver next time around, well, next time around is a running backs class. So now what? I should have taken the wide receiver this time around and have the running backs class when the RBs are better.
Yeah, when there's a healthier number.
It's just all about planning. It's all about planning ahead and how you plan ahead. And that's just simply a tool to plan ahead.
And I think we can move on from that topic for now. I mean, we're definitely going to get into a lot of in-depth dynasty conversations later on. So let's move on to rebuilding, because this is obviously, a pretty, obvious statement. You're at the bottom. You're trying to rebuild completely. Maybe you had a good team a year or two ago. So the goal here is to trade running backs for young assets and picks. I mean, come on, let's be honest.
I did this incredibly in our Empire League. It sounds like this was based off my life, like a biography.
Yeah, this is Hussein's biography right here and how he treated the Empire. But yeah, you trade these guys away because, let's be honest, there's only, a couple guys who actually last more than like 5 or 6 years as a good running back in the NFL. We looked at some different careers lately, like Barry Sanders played 10 great seasons or something like that. He's an anomaly. That doesn't happen. Those guys over 25, 26 just don't produce like they do when they're 23 and 24. So trade those guys while you can. Go ahead and expand on that one, Hussein.
I don't think there's much. There's a whole lot to be said because
it's kind of pretty obvious.
Yeah,
running backs. I mean, they're like cars. You take them out of the dealership, they lose value
instantly.
As soon as they start going.
It's if they haven't fallen off. If they haven't fallen off, they're falling off at age 29 and a half. Like
it's coming off. It's coming soon. At least for wide receivers and other positions, there's more longevity there. So that's why you want to trade away the running backs, because those are the types of guys who are going to last the shortest. And for rebuilds, you need to focus on getting younger.
And this actually came up. We were talking about Joe Mixon, and Joe Mixon's, I think, going to be 26 here soon, or if he's not already. And I was telling Hussein, he's like getting close to the age where I'd want to dump him, because he's probably at his peak value now, or was like 6 months ago, basically. Yeah. So you want to get rid of those guys right now before they decrease in value so much that you're only going to get like a second, third round pick for them. So yeah, we just want you to know that running back life is just a lot less than any other position, obviously. So you need to get rid of them, especially if you're in a rebuilding. The other point we were going to make too is that if you have a handcuff, go to the owner of the guy who has the starter and try to pitch him on a trade if you can, because that's going to make the most sense.
Running backs are valuable, man. You will get something even for a non-starting role running back. Not the case with wide receivers because there's so many of them. But for running backs, dudes want and will always look to be acquiring running backs.
Yeah, like a perfect example is like if you have Khalil Herbert for some reason in your rebuilding team, you need to trade Khalil Herbert to the Monty owner like right away, because he has the most value to that Monty owner, first of all. And second of all, your window is not going to start for another 1 or 2 years at the earliest. So why would you have
Khalil Herbert's window not going to start for a couple of years too?
Yeah, but
he has a window. You don't know if he can even have a window.
Exactly. Like he could be out of the league in 2 years. You don't know.
Like take your profits now.
Exactly.
Don't
Take your
risk
dividends while you can.
because you're eating poop now, but you could be also eating poop in 3 years. You might as well start building now.
What I'll say is this: if you do nothing and you keep a guy like Khalil Herbert on your roster and you're rebuilding, you don't have Montgomery, you failed. He's not going to be useful for you at all, period, in your life.
Is very little value to on the Bears bench, basically. Like, what is he going to do for you? So, yeah.
Well, he could start.
Like he did last season, a game or two, right? But like, what
no,
is
I mean,
that
in three,
really
I'm
for
talking
you?
about in 2-3 years he could start.
Yeah,
I'm
Monty
agreeing
could
with
go
you
to another
guys. I'm
team.
just trying to like.
Good,
poke,
yeah. You're playing devil's
like
advocate.
Sure,
yeah,
but then let me push back that couch. So you're saying in 2-3 years he could start.
There's a small.
If
chance.
I'm
let's say like
rebuilding-
10. Let's say like 15%.
Let's say you're right. Forget about it. Let's say it's 100%. Let's say you're
Uh-huh.
right. He does start in 3 years. Let me ask you a real question. Would I rather have Khalil Herbert on year 4 or year 3 of his contract, or just give me a younger running back? I'll take the younger running back all day.
With the pick, so get the pick.
Get the pick. Yeah.
And we know you're agreeing with it. It's a good point, though, to make to play devil's advocate.
Yeah,
though,
of course, definitely.
There are guys that are on the fence, right? Like maybe they like Herbert. They just like his talent. You know, they get emotional and it's like, no, I don't want to move a guy that, you know, I think could be a great player in 2 years. It's like, nah, dude, just cut.
You probably have
get rid
to
of him
package
now.
him to be realistic, right?
Yeah,
Package
but you
would
could
probably
package
be-
like Khalil Herbert in a 3rd round pick and move up to maybe like the end of the 1st round or early 2nd. You know what I mean? So like package Herbert to move up in the draft to get a better value pick, maybe something along those lines.
I'll even throw in a 4th.
Exactly right.
I'll throw in a 5th. I'll throw in a 5th since we got a 5-round draft here, baby.
That's something that Sushane would do. That's something that I.
Oh yeah, I'd be really into
Just
acquiring
take-
a bunch of
take
2022
this.
5th rounders.
Yeah, take these 2 here. I'll throw that. Let me throw that in. This is a bazaar. It's a bargaining chip. You know, this is a farmer's market here. I'll throw this in too. I'll throw in this 4th, throw in this 5th. Give me a 1st. It's a late 1st anyway.
You want $15 in Fab? You want some Fab?
No, I mean, look, there's some guys who actually do respect the value of 4ths and 5ths to like make up value. Like, let's say you're going from like Jamar Chase to like Justin Jefferson, and you know, the guy who has Chase is like saying, no, Chase is better than Jefferson by a little bit. Just add a 4th.
Yeah,
you're not giving up anything.
That's a tough example. I know what you mean, though.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But
yeah, no.
You're right. There is literally a guy out there who would do that, though.
Yeah, I mean,
probably.
No, you want to tip his dynasty calculator. There are some people who would just go off a dynasty calculator, and if there's no calculator, the calculator in their head, and that would tip them. They just be like, "Oh, I need the value," or if it make them feel good. Like when I save a penny on something, it makes me feel good. It's an emotional thing. So when you throw that in, sometimes it might do it. Yeah, most people will be like, "Dude, why are you talking about this nonsense? We're talking about 2 Hall of Famers. Like, let's not."
It does
Talk
happen
about
though.
pennies. It does.
J7 is a great example. So Jack, you know, from our.
I feel like every trade we've been bringing up includes some kind of crappy 4th round pick in there.
He always throws $69 of Fab on his trades. He always throws, if he has it, he throws $69 of Fab on his trades. And Danny has taken that trade, and I've seen it at least twice now. And they always laugh about, was it the $69 of Fab that pushed you over? It is like a mental trick.
Bro,
it's
Jack
almost
and Danny
like
are just weird.
Well, yeah, they go back.
Right.
They trade one guy one week and trade him back
weird.
the next week. It's interesting, but you get the point.
They're like those movies where they're like spies and they're married and they try to kill each other and they're also madly in love. So they have like
they were duos.
They have a romance.
Yeah, they were partners in duo.
They have a romance scene where they're trying to kill each other, but then they end up kissing. That's them, basically.
Yeah.
This is one way to.
Yeah, if I look at my phone, it's like
dynamic.
If I look at my phone and there's 40 notifications, I'm like, okay, so it's Jack, Danny, and probably, I don't know, one other random person like having a full-on conversation right now in the chat in our sleeper league. So, any other points on this one before I make the last point we got, Sushane?
Let's go on.
Okay, so the last point in rebuilding, trade for 2023 first and second round picks. Now, the first round pick is a kind of obvious thing. We've been saying for almost a year now that the 2023 class is a stellar class. So first round picks
for 2 years, but go ahead.
Right? Exactly, right? So this is known within our Discord and within our, circles, for example. But I want to let you make this point. The second round pick could be more valuable than you think. Tell them what you mean, Sushane.
Yes. Okay. I forgot the exact pick value that I gave you, Drew. I just kind of gave you an approximation, but I'm going to be totally honest with you here. This is not just a top-heavy stacked class. This is a deep class as well.
And we're talking next year, guys.
We're talking
2023.
2023. I'm just going to compare it to 2022 in terms of just like pick values, right? What I would say is this. Based on what I know about scouting, college football, projection to the NFL and stuff. So this is like, an educated guess here. It's an opinion. I could be wrong, but I really this is like the best advice that I could give you here. The way I would value the first overall pick in 2022, this year, that's going to happen in a couple months in your rookie draft. Honestly, man, I might take 7 or 8 players in 2023 over that guy. And I'm not kidding.
You hear that? I mean, that's
over what guy? What
over Burks. Over Burks, basically.
Over Burks.
Who's
Consensus
going,
number
who's
one.
going, where would he go in this?
He's saying about what the
like
8th
108 maybe.
108,
108,
okay.
109. That's what I'm saying. That's how thick at the top this class is. Let me make one more point. There's a cutoff point in the second round, not mid, slightly after mid. I don't want to say late because that kind of goes 211, 212. A little bit earlier than that. Let's call it the 208, 209. Those are still legitimate guys. I would say something like the 205 or a 206, so a mid-second round pick in 2023 is probably as good as a late first this year. I'm not making that up.
Yeah, like a David Bell, Jahan Dotson.
If you don't believe me, look no further than what just happened in college football a year ago. Who won the Heisman Trophy for the best? It's pretty much a quarterback award at this point.
Bryce Young.
2023 NFL draft prospect. Who won the Blitnikoff Award for the best receiver? Jordan Addison from Pittsburgh, 2023 draft eligible. Mic drop. There you go. I need to say no more after that because that just proves the point that these guys are just simply superior than what we're seeing in 2022. So if you're rebuilding, 2023 first. They are getting a little expensive though because people are catching on.
Yep. 2023
seconds. You can get a rookie second for cheap. And if I'm saying that I can get like a late 2022 first round pick for something, way cheaper, because think about it, you're gonna have to pay more for a first round pick this year just for the fact that it's a first round pick. It says 1ST next to the thing on Sleeper, whereas this one says 2ND second. So it's going to cost you less, and you might get a similar, maybe even better player.
It's a big point. I think it's a big point. What do you think, Hussein? I mean, it's
well, where
huge,
you can
right?
really get over on that is like if it's an early second or even mid. If you can, if you can somehow have an idea, which is hard, but if you can be like, all right, man, a second, an early second, I can get so much cheaper usually just because of that mental aspect. Versus a late first. I can just, I can totally crush it there. Or even a mid-second, if your projections are off.
Yeah.
So, I like that. And Sushane's told me about that a lot. And I don't know, it's going to be fun to rebuild. I'm more excited about my team that sucks than my team that's actually pretty good.
That's why I rebuild, man, because the excitement level is just
so,
a little bit different.
you're actually, you're putting your GM hat on. More so, and it's just it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Can we wrap this up though? We
got one question.
Before you got the question, right. One more small thing I want to say here. So for rebuilding, you can, in terms of when you get the rookie picks, there's 2 main strategies that are used. One is if you see a really good rookie class, and I've done this before. I did this with a 2020 rookie class. Just to remind you guys, it was Jonathan Taylor, Clyde, Lamb, Judy, Jefferson, etc. I stacked the board in my favor. So I'm saying it was a 10-team league. I had 7 first-round picks. I had 8 second-round picks. I dominated the draft. That's one way to go about it. Or another way to go about it is if you can't get all of these picks in one year, or because 2023 is now getting more and more popular as a good class. So maybe you won't be able to get, a bunch of 2023, 7 firsts, for example. build it over a course of maybe 2 or 3 draft classes. So for that strategy, my bread and butter is, again, because I use Couch's settings most of the time, it's a 9-starter roster. If I can have 3 first-rounders in the next 3 years each, that's 9 picks.
Fill it out.
I'm good to go.
That's a good point.
I didn't get what so you're saying you'd rather have.
No. I'm saying there's 2 ways to go about rebuilding.
Be patient.
You're saying neither is better than the. Oh, you're saying don't freak out if you can't start rebuilding all in 1 year.
Yeah.
I just didn't get the point of what you said. Okay, so
the point was there's 2 ways to go about it.
But you can do the first way was okay though, right? If you have all these back-to-backs in 1 year.
Yeah, because you dominate the class, rookie hype fever.
As long as it's a good class.
Yeah.
As long as it's not that one class with Singletary that I was. That wasn't a good class.
No.
Was that the Keyshawn Vaughn class?
No,
that was.
But my best pick was like Deontay Johnson, who was like, that was like a taxi cut type of dude, which was funny. He went super late.
Yeah.
I got him at 3.11.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was debating between him and Rock Armstead or some
Raquel Armstead, Jaguars.
Cool guys call him Rock Armstead.
So damn. So we got
something
Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool.
Cool guys call him Rock.
No, I traded Deontay Johnson for Chase Claypool. It was a bad trade.
It's all right.
Yeah, you learn. I was like, I'm playing with house money. Claypool has more upside, but he ended up being a complete idiot. He's just a bone. Claypool's just a bonehead, dude. Like I still believe in his talent, but I don't know if he's gonna get there because he's a bonehead. Like
hey, there's one guy I think who has really tremendous talent, but also could be a bonehead. But I'll save that for next time. All right.
Let's get to this question. So we got a question.
We have a question.
Kyle. We have a question, and it's a dynasty
It's
question.
not the.
And honestly, Kyle's probably sleeping by now because this was about an hour ago that he asked this question.
Hey,
so
good
I'm sorry,
question.
Kyle.
It's a good question.
I hope you wake up tomorrow and rewatch this.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kyle says trade Joe Mixon for the 2022 107 and a 2023 first round pick.
How do you not do this?
2 thumbs up, baby.
How do you not do this?
Oh, the only way you don't do this is if you're running it back. The only way you don't do that.
That's true.
Are you sure?
I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe you flip these for other players or picks at that point.
It's just too good value. The value, the calculator is weighing too.
Well, that brings up a good point, though. So when is the value going to supersede like your strategy thought process? Because sometimes you're right. Like you will get a trade that comes in and you're like, I have to take this, right? Like it's a no-brainer.
I mean, that's.
I think I have an answer for it. Not sure.
I'm curious. I'm really asking the question.
This is it right here. This is it right here.
This is the trade.
First of all,
Joe Mixon is a win now guy. Joe Mixon's going to have a really good 2022 year. Like we know that.
I agree.
He's a good running back. You kind of need him if you're running it back.
Yeah.
But the value is just too good, right?
Yeah.
The value.
All right. So who's he going to replace him with?
Look, I mean, let's say you are in that ultra win now type of mode. I would just make sure that you are in a trade active type of league and that you can at least have the option of flipping the 107 in the 2023 first for better assets later on.
Most dynasty leagues are
most dynasty leagues are that.
Yeah, the trade hater leagues come really with redraft. Those are 30% of the 20%, 30% of redraft leagues are trade hating leagues. Our couch league was like that. I was partially responsible for that, but we try to improve, try to make trades. Yeah, exactly. We're no longer a trade hater league than the couch league, our redraft league. It's average. It's average trades going on there. It's very good.
Absolutely. It's
very healthy. Yeah, and this is one where like, hey, you can make a quick flip. Just take it and run. No matter. And here's another thing. This guy might not be a run it back team. So then
you're right.
Then it's a total no-brainer.
Then it's
come on.
And I want to make this last point because Amar agrees with us as well. He says, if I'm win now and I get this offer, I'm going to take the trade, then flip the 2022 107 for a vet RB who's less value than Mixon. which is the point, right? Like you can
Downsizing
kind of
running backs.
Downsizing running
downsize,
backs,
right?
exactly.
Exactly, like we were saying earlier, like downsizing, splitting value, whatever you want to call it. It's just the facts of like if you're in a league where people trade, and dynasty leagues is where they trade, like Brain said. He's even got a player that he suggests trading for, which would be Aaron Jones. What do you guys think about that? The 1.07 straight up for Aaron Jones. Is that a good deal? Who wins that side?
Yeah, I think it's good.
Value, it's fine. It just
you can
depends
get
what
that.
you need on your team.
Yeah,
Who would he get in the rookie draft if he didn't trade for Aaron Jones with the 1.07, Sushane? I kind of have an idea.
A starting running back? Could you get a running back at 1.07? Superflex.
It's tough. Superflex? Yeah, in Superflex, you're getting closer to possible here because I think Kenneth Walker or even maybe Isaiah Spiller splits that far. Who's the fourth best running back on your rankings right now, Sushane?
Not at the 107. He's probably going to be Rashad White, Jerome Ford, Kyron Williams, one of those.
And
guys.
that's later, right? We're talking late first. So, I mean, if you miss out on the top three guys, which we have as Bryce Hall, Isaiah Spiller, Kenneth Walker III, they could all be gone by the 1.07. So that's why this does make it a little tricky, just in that regard.
Yeah, but then you're like, you're trading another wide receiver that, comes out of the rookie draft that could be great, could be good.
You're right, yeah.
Could be just another receiver. For Aaron Jones, that the running back value is going to have, value on your team. And obviously, if you're making this move, if you're trading away a rookie pick for an older running back who's, on the back nine, I mean, obviously you're closer to winning than rebuilding,
That's true.
So this would be a decent move to get Aaron Jones.
I like the comment because Aaron Jones is a very reasonable guy, a realistic target. His Packers are a little bit in flux. We just talked about Aaron Rodgers, 25%, 35% chance he's going to leave Green Bay, maybe even retire. That's always there in people's heads. If that happens, that whole team is just crumbling. So more than if Jordan Love is at the helm, that whole team is just a complete joke. It's an all fall.
One can only hope.
I did want to do an intro for this video, but I did the hand measuring thing, so I'll do it for the outro. Basically, look, I love Dynasty. I'm into it a lot. I don't watch a lot of college football stuff. It's not my specialty, and I just want to be honest with you guys. It's just how it is. I love the 12-team snake redraft. I respect auction drafts. They're boring for me with my ADHD. I can't do them too much. I definitely respect them. But 12-team redraft, that's where it's at for me. 14 teams good. I'm good with that too. Taking on big pool DFS tournaments, that's my thing. Those are two things that I just nailed down, right? There's a lot of fancy analysts that, they're a complete joke at DFS, and it's all good. Like, that's just not their thing. They don't play a lot, but they have no idea what the heck they're talking about. And I studied that thing to the bone. And, I do the 12-team snake drafts. I do that to the bone. In Dynasty, I'm not a Dynasty expert. I'm a fan of it. And that's why I bring Sushane on. And I know Drew's been studying it like hell the past 2-3 years. So, we're
learned a lot from Sushane.
Look, that's the beauty of this game, fantasy football, right? You can have guys who are into the redraft aspect, like Couch, you were just saying. Drew, I know you're super into Dynasty and the young rookies.
Definitely.
And then how I built my Devy team. I don't have any guys who are coming in until 2023.
Yeah, so you got so much
all three of us
strategy behind it.
Three totally different things, and that's cool.
Well, DFS is the complete opposite of Dynasty. It's only for one day.
Today, yeah. I need you to do well today.
Yeah. And hey, I've done it. I admit it. I've done it. I've taken down some of the biggest tournaments on DraftKings and on Drafters. I won some of the big ones, got some perfect lineups, went through some drama with the website.
The adrenaline rush when you're close to winning is insane, though.
I'm gonna say it's not healthy for me because I have anxiety issues. It's not healthy. I have my shirt off, my chest is all covered in sweat.
You're cursing out the statistician.
Oh, my neighbors. My neighbors is probably there's definitely some kind of domestic issue going on.
Who was the tight end that caught the touchdown? I'm trying to remember.
Jason Bates.
Third string.
He's on my back.
God.
So what's we tying this in kind of, right?
We are
here because I'm talking to Sushane a lot. I'm doing more research, looking at page 233 of draft guides. I know, and I'm rebuilding my team. I know who Jason Bates is.
The third,
right? Washington tight end.
Tight end, yeah.
And so like I literally had this guy on my taxi squad. I'm like, he's kind of good for these like low end rookie tight ends. Like he seems like kind of okay. And so I picked him, and that one was winning $1,500 or some $2,000, but because the statistician accidentally said he got 2 touchdowns instead of 1, that it went down. But that's all. That was my other team.
You got one job, bro. Come on.
But that's the thing. I couldn't get mad because I was winning like 7,000 off the first one. So it's like never be. Look, greed is a good thing to an extent, but never be too greedy, right? Never be that. Never be the guy who buys all the Purell when the pandemic.
The toilet paper.
Yeah, because that's like when I think of. I'm never a hater on that. I'm like, like, dang man, I'm not that greedy. I wouldn't have thought of that because you need like a certain level of greed to come up with that idea. Like, how can I screw over 4,000 people and make 22 cents per transaction extra on Amazon? Like, that's a greedy dude. I'm like, hey man, I can't knock anyone's hustle. Like, that's fine. I'm just not that greedy. Or the lady who films herself trying to buy like 200 iPhones and cuts in line, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, it's only 2 per customer," and she's like, "Oh,
yeah."
crap.
Or the lady that returns her Christmas tree to Costco after Christmas.
Bro, stop.
You've seen that one.
That's how I survived. So stop with that.
Dang, we're exposing right now.
But it's not for us.
Was that Rosa?
No. I've filmed. That's how I like when you got to film something and you need gear. I've done that. That's their fault for having the 30-day return.
No, that's fine. But the Christmas tree was dead. She brought back a dead Christmas tree, and they gave her a refund.
I don't know what that is. That's 5th. Not relevant to my story.
I know, but
I'm talking. That's not greed. That's just like some weird stuff. I'm talking about a dead Christmas tree. That's
these are
not
just good business decisions. That's all it is. No
whatever.
More than that.
Or the people that have a TV, they watch the Super Bowl return. Like, I don't do that, but that's just they just want to watch the game. I don't care. What I'm talking about is don't get too greedy, because like I already won the 7,000 first place prize, right? After it's all split and stuff, it came out to like 7,000 something. I'm not gonna get greedy over losing 1,000. Like, I'm gonna be like, whatever. Like, I can't get now. If that was my top lineup, I'd be pissed. I'd be like,
you might have to tell this story again, by the way, because the
John
folks are asking. It was John Bates the third, I believe. We're already over 2 hours. Do you want to go back and tell this story, or do you want to make it?
Yeah, I can tell it really quick. So DraftKings Showdown, that's the single. It's the more complete opposite of Dynasty. It's just for one game, and it was Dallas, Washington. I had the Cowboys in my captain's spot. I entered several times. I hit it. I won first place. It was like $20,000, $50,000 prize, something. When it's tied and stuff, I got like 7,200. I also finished freaking second place, which ends up being, because there's four-way tie. So I finished like the second most. So I got the first most points scored in that whole contest, thousands of people, and I got the second most points scored. I'm like, I got to screenshot this. I got to show my people. I screenshot it. I tweet it. Everyone's giving me props. I'm getting retweets. Everyone's like, you're the man. And then I look several hours later, like I'm winning like $1,500 less. And I'm like, what happened? And so I never want to be the guy complaining. I email DraftKings. I do this. And after doing several research, it was a fluke play where John Bates scored a touchdown, and then he fumbled it, then he scored again, and then they challenged it, they reviewed it, and the guy, he hit the touchdown button on the stats, and then when they like did all the challenge and stuff, and they like, oh, it's not a touchdown, then they're like, oh, it is a touchdown. He marked it as a second touchdown, and that's why my score was that high. End of the day, that one dropped down, and I only ended up winning like 7,500 or 7,800. But you can't be mad over that. Don't get too greedy.
Still a great day.
I'm just doing it to take down. Like, that's my whole goal, to take down a big GPP. Yep. Did I? Yeah. Best ball. That's something I gotta improve on too.
Yeah, best ball.
Should we
Cool.
Best ball, I need to improve on as well. Like I'm good at it, but not great. That's something I want to improve.
This is a nice draft class for best ball. Actually, there's gonna be a lot of receivers I think are very boom or bust, and that's kind of
Well,
what you
actually,
want.
we're partnered with Drafters, so you can't bring that comment up. That's a direct competitor.
Oh, gotcha.
But
All
I
right,
can,
we'll end it here. No, I'm joking.
but no, it's fun. We can even say no. I like
They're just-
I like Underdog. It's a great website for sure. Like but Drafters is awesome because not a lot of people play sometimes in contests, and so you can get that extra, overlay, or even if it's not overlay, you can get an extra edge there. And because they're competitors, they have to make certain promos or deals to compete. And
to
so
lure
that's
you
why.
over there.
Yeah, because they'd be like, okay, we get, you'll make more money on Drafters, or this contest didn't fill up, or there's this promotion.
And one thing that's cool about Drafters, at least that's somewhat different from DraftKings or FanDuel, for example, rather than like a salary cap and you just try to fit guys based on a salary, you are drafting a team. So it's kind of similar to what you're
That's
doing in
how
fantasy
Underdog
football.
is too.
That's how Underdog.
That's why they're direct competitors.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. No, it's the no salary cap draft. No, Drafters is great.
Yeah, I like it. Sweet UI too. Very user friendly.
It's cool. It's
Yeah.
they pay the bills. Yeah, we're gonna end it on there. We'll talk more Dynasty in another podcast. 2 hours and 16 minutes. My God. All right, guys.
Boys.
Have a good night,
Thanks for
boys.
hopping on. Take care. Peace.